In 2024, a podcast so profound was shown in the light. Brighter, wittier, funnier. The Blind Mike Project. A concurrent journey through the worlds of Who Are These Socials and Why Are You Laughing? And a mission to make all three available to the masses. There are those that have visited blindmike.net for all things Blind Mike, and those that are about to. In the end, there can be only one Blind Mike Geary. And Gearheads, we applaud him. A man on a mission to bring his podcast vision to the world and travel to Austin for the weekend. Let's give it up for Blind Mike Geary!
Backride shirking his duties while I'm gone, I see.
It's all on DJ Electrify now.
No new intro. People don't adjust your monitors, don't adjust your computer sets. It's last week's intro, but we're new. We're live, baby. So don't freak out.
They already clicked off.
Yeah. No, it'd be great if it was 0 views. Everyone relies on the intro to tell them if it's a new episode.
Everyone that complains about Hack Ride's intros is now like, where the fuck's the new one?
Hello, everybody. I am back from Austin. Happy to be back. It was an exciting weekend. We've got Craig Ironhead of Coney, leader of Newsmax, with me.
Yes, I run things there.
Hello, sir.
My duty. I've been, it's been a nice long tryout to get on the network there, so I think it's going pretty well.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Hack Ride. Speaking of Hack Ride, he, I don't understand. It's always, I think he means well. I've started not to read his messages in the way that they clearly come off.
Yeah.
But he says to me the other day, he just messages me, do I owe you $50? And there's no context to it. It's just, do I owe you $50? And I say, $50? Question mark. I don't know what he's talking about. He doesn't owe me any money. No, I have no idea what he means. Simple enough response, right?
Yeah.
He replies, Jesus fucking Christ. I said on Gearbox that I would pay you $50 to mention my name to Lauren Compton. Do you not listen to anything I say? Now, there's a lot there.
There's a lot to unpack.
First of all, I'm not in the business of accepting bribes. Based on notoriety, I shouldn't be on that show. I'm not also going to go, oh, and you should, there's a demon that pops in and uses a voice changer. Could you check him out as well, Lauren?
That's his real voice. Don't forget.
Lauren Compton's show is not the after show for this program. I'll be on in 6 months, whenever the episode drops. It was very nice to have me on. So I'm not going to scold her to get Craig and Hack Ride on.
What, I'm getting lumped into this now?
Yes. Electrify is going to be on there now.
Probably get along.
But the Jesus fucking Christ, as if after week 1 of Gearbox, which is tonight at 9, folks, Sunday night at 9, I think. After week 1, when I saw that it was Red Bar for the Blind Mike Project, I thought to myself, maybe I'll take this week off. Maybe I won't watch this one. I don't want to learn things about my lack of abilities.
Well, this week they blew the shit out of you and just called me a fat pedophile.
Can I be honest with you? That's worse.
Yeah.
Because them shitting on me was them being honest. Those are the real thoughts about me. Them pretending I'm great that's just pandering to me.
Did you know that you are
Mikey? Who's a good little podcaster? Very good, Schnookums.
Did you know that Hack Ride thinks you're the next Howard Stern?
No, that's not transparent at all.
You know what? I actually think he's being serious.
That doesn't feel forced.
I think he's for real.
Yes, well, he's very kind, but yes, I missed his bribery of me. I didn't realize I've offered to pay Hack Ride, and he always says no, please, you'll never pay me. I didn't realize the trade-off to that was I have to mention him on every podcast I go on.
That's the payout.
He's like the mafia. He's shaking me down for mentions.
You gonna mention me or what?
Also, the amount was a little insulting.
50.
Someone, you don't want a crisp $50, Mike? You could use that. Dance for me.
He might rule YouTube in like 2-3 years. He might be in charge of it.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I will say, maybe that's the push he needed, getting demonetized or whatever happened with YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that'll get him in line now, He'll rise to the ranks. He's a good company man.
Huh.
Yeah. But yes, Austin was a delight. It was, I'm thinking of moving there. Of
course.
It was a lovely experience. Flew in Saturday morning, and Lauren, a couple days before we got there, I didn't know, I wasn't very familiar with her. Like, I interacted with her on Twitter a little bit. Obviously, she was on Kirk's show. Shout out to Kirk, by the way, because without him having her on, I wouldn't have been down there. So thank you for yet another opportunity, sir. But that's all I've ever interacted with. So I listened to a few episodes on the flight down, and we'll get comments that I'm simping or something. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed her podcast, just listening to it. And at least a third of her guests, if not more, were comics that I like. I think the episodes coming out before mine comes out are Louis J. Gomez and Joe List, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
See, maybe our Hack Ride's on to something.
So, it's all like Norton's been on there, Mark Normand, Sam Morrill, all comics I like. So I was actually enjoying it on the flight down, and I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. And a couple days before, she texted me and was like, would you want to grab lunch with me and my boyfriend at Terry Black's in Austin? She goes, he owns the place. And I mentioned it to a buddy of mine who's been to Austin. He goes, Terry Black's is legendary. He goes, it's the best barbecue joint and one of the best places in Texas, maybe.
He owns it.
And he owns it. So I was kind of expecting a douchebag restaurateur.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't have been a more Texas boy. You would have seen him in Friday Night Lights or something. He was just a genuine Texas boy. And there's this guy's a fucking millionaire. He owns multiple restaurants. I think they said Terry Black's is one of the most visited restaurants in the country. And he's just like, how you doing, man? You want a beer? I'm like, this is nice. I feel part of this, I feel part of Texas. I'm in their blood now,
Is it a big restaurant?
I don't know how you would compare the size of the actual restaurant, but the line was crazy when we got there.
Oh, no shit.
We got to skip it, one of the perks.
Yeah, of having a disability or knowing Lauren.
Knowing Lauren, yeah. No, when they saw me, they were like, back of the line, kid. Back of the line, fatso. You'll wait with the other pigs.
Yeah.
But no, that was very cool. And that also made me more comfortable because, like I said, I didn't know her at all.
Yeah.
But lunch was very easy, and she's a good talker. I think in situations like that, if I have to lead the conversation, I'm uncomfortable.
Right.
But no, she was very, very welcoming and hospitable. So that was pretty cool.
And the skirt was with you, right?
The skirt was with me. That is one thing I noticed is she goes, I'm not going to talk. I don't want to get in the way of you guys. And I go, oh no, please, by all means, talk.
Mm-hmm.
And after me saying that, there were a couple moments where I couldn't get away. I went oh, no, she's still going. All right, I'm going to let her.
So did she make an appearance on the podcast?
No.
Because
Why?
in my head, I was like, a scenario that played out was all of a sudden Lauren's interested in her side of it.
No, so she went to take a picture of the 4 of us at lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and I go, "Oh, if you're posting that, I don't really post her stuff. So would you mind if she wasn't in it?" Like I kicked her out of the photo.
Was she mad?
Was my girlfriend mad?
Yeah.
Oh, she didn't want to be on. She doesn't
Oh,
like that
okay.
shit. Yeah. No, I wasn't being rude.
Oh, okay.
Hey, this is my time.
Eat it. It needs to look
No,
like you're dating online.
Yeah, no, she doesn't want that shit up there.
Yeah.
And that's just for the 0.1% of people that are assholes online,
Correct. It's not worth it.
Yeah. So that was Saturday. That was very cool. And then Saturday night we went to Bryan Red Band's club, Sunset Strip, which is right down the road from the mothership. And it was called the Big Texas Showcase. It was like not open micers, but not people you've heard of. They closed with you might know Rachel Wolfson. She was in the Jackass movie.
Yep.
And her boyfriend Matt Edgar closed, who was really funny. It's a name I've heard. I wasn't too familiar with him, but he was really good. But the rest of the people were like not names you've heard of, but they were all really funny. Like that was the one thing I noticed. The couple comedy clubs I went to in Austin was like it's a good comedy scene down there. And there was one line. There was one guy. I remembered this just for Craig because I was like, "Oh, Craig's gonna like this one. I'm gonna hang on to it."
Oh, good.
He goes, it was just a non sequitur. It wasn't like there's no more context to it than this. He just goes, "You think Joe Biden never calls Kamala Obama?" I enjoyed that one. I was like, Craig will like this.
He probably does.
He just gets confused. He's old,
Or at least calls her Michelle.
But yeah, Sunset Strip was also very cool. It's a nice club, but it was a Saturday night, and it was only like a third, maybe half full, which I thought was somewhat. I don't know if that's unusual for that place. Maybe when they don't have like a headliner, that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a really nice setup. They take your phones there, which I actually kind of like. The mothership does that too. I don't mind that because like if you can't be away from your phone for 2 hours or whatever it is, you probably shouldn't go out.
Yeah, but if you have kids or something, I think you can.
What?
What's that?
No, go ahead.
Oh,
I was about to interrupt you, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm saying when they do that, if you have kids or something, you can go check it out in the whatever the phone.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the excuse people always use is like, "Well, I have kids, I need." But if you're in that situation, either don't go out. Like if you're in a situation where you can't be away from your phone, then you shouldn't go out, maybe.
Mhm.
Or like, yeah, go out in the hallway and check it. Like set up a system where if you get if your phone vibrates X amount of times in a row, it's an emergency or whatever.
Yeah. An Apple Watch.
Yeah, so I kind of like that they do that because you don't need to be there's nothing you need to check during a show,
Right.
Yeah, Apple Watch, another good system. Figure it out, people. You can be without your phone for an hour. People did it for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, and those kind of comedy shows are only 90 minutes, so you're in and out.
Yeah, exactly. So that was nice. That was Saturday. Sunday we didn't do much. Went to a Mexican place. I wanted to kind of take it easy Sunday night and everything. We watched Shane Gillis, of course, but we'll get to that later. Because Shane did a bunch of podcasts, gave some insight into the week, so we'll talk about that later. Oh, I should also mention we have a guest coming on in a bit.
Yes.
Very, very special guest.
Mm-hmm.
So get excited for that. He bogarted his way onto the show. He bullied me. Heard what I was talking about today and goes, "I need to be there."
I think this is his apology for the forehead vein yelling session he had on the box.
Well, maybe. Yeah, so Sunday, not much there. Monday we recorded it, and I gotta say, I thought I did fine. I heard everyone saying I was gonna be like nervous or weird on it. I thought I did okay. We'll see when the tape comes out. I'm sure there'll be stuff you can make fun of. But I thought Lauren and I had good chemistry, I gotta say.
Did you get any her reaction going like, "Aw," like any of that?
No, I was kind of. It was more playful, I guess. I don't know the right word, but
I'm just curious.
It was
you are
good spirited.
wondering if the New York Post is gonna pick you up.
Oh, like Ari Shaffir?
Yeah.
That's one of the episodes I listened to. That was very weird because I listened to that episode on the flight down, and I never once thought to myself, well, certainly newspapers will be covering this.
Like I heard there were like everyone was swooning over it, and I read it, and I don't know, the article like didn't make sense to me.
It was a good story he told, but I don't know how that gets. I don't know if that's something where she knows someone at the New York Post or why that happened, but
Because like part of it too, it said like he flew into Alabama, drove to Mississippi, they spent the night in Philadelphia, is what the article said. So
I don't remember all the details, but it was nicer than that, I guess. But
yeah. No, it seems like a good story. Like, you know, seems like he pays attention to his lady.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're Kobe Bryant, he's a real sweet guy.
Yeah. If you're white and not on Black Twitter at all, you love that story.
Yeah. So YMH Studios was like pretty cool. Everyone there was very nice. I don't know. Is there anything more I should be saying about that? I feel like I'm answering all the questions. I don't know what other questions people might have.
Experience at the mothership.
Oh yeah, so that was later that night, Monday night. We went to the mothership, and that was another thing. Lauren texted Bryan Redband and tried to get me into Kill Tony.
Yeah.
And I guess he's like, we oversell. There's nothing I can do about it. So that shows you how much power Bryan Redband has. But
what's cool that Lauren's like,
that was very nice of her. She might take away from her, like I said, I didn't know a lot about her. You know, you see stuff on like Reddit or Twitter or whatever. I thought she was awesome. Like I thought she was. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't be saying this if it was a guy. Whatever. Like I thought she was really cool, funny. Had a great time with her. I don't know. I enjoyed the experience. Like that was fun.
well, the people that go out of their way to try to help you, like just texting him, seeing if you can get in, like that kind of stuff. A lot of people be like, yeah, let me see what I can do, and then don't do anything about it.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is like if you know, even if you show me clips of her podcast that are terrible, I'll never make fun of them now because she was very good to me. You know.
Yeah.
And she was cool to hang out with, very personable, very like seemed like a genuine person. Also, I think like maybe when you hear like, oh, it's a girl from TikTok that does a dating show, you think she's gonna be phony or whatever. She was seemed really genuinely cool. You know, this is based on 2 interactions I had with her, obviously, but seemed very cool. So I'm a Lauren Compton fan now.
Now, is she following you on Twitter now?
I think so. Why?
You're officially friends.
Oh yes, yeah. By the mixed standard, I think we we support each other.
I'm great. If she wasn't following you, just come on here and start flipping out about
What
it.
the fuck? Yeah, and then the mothership is okay. So I didn't get into Kill Tony, but we did get into like the open mic upstairs.
Yep.
Which is not like even when I thought open mic, I was like, oh, it's gonna be horseshit comics.
Yeah.
It was like mostly veteran, like Cam Patterson was on it. Dave Landau showed up.
Did he?
Like it was not a real open mic the way you would think of one in Boston or something.
Is it like
you know?
each comic gets like 7 minutes or something?
3.
No shit.
Everyone gets 3 minutes in and out. Bam, bam. And David Jolly, who you might have heard on Kill Tony.
Yeah.
He was the host, but like he didn't do anything. He didn't do any time. He walks up and he goes, y'all getting drunk? And we were like, woo. And he goes, all right, here's your first comedian.
Oh, that's funny.
But Cam Patterson, by the way, very funny. Like live, I've only seen him on Kill Tony. Live, he was really funny. Like I've never liked Tracy Morgan's stand-up. I think he's hilarious on 30 Rock.
Yeah.
His stand-up reminds me of like what I think Tracy Morgan could have been, you know?
Oh, Tracy.
He's got
Tracy
that
Morgan,
energy.
His like I never like seek out his stand-up, but if I watch it, it always kills me. Just the way he talks.
Oh, really?
Well,
Cam Patterson's got a little bit of that, but I think he's like he seems like he's a better writer, at least so far. You know, he's young, but
he just says something like his kids pissing him off. He's like, "No, go in the kitchen, help your mom make that lasagna with the 3 different cheeses." Like it's just stupid shit like that.
Cam Patterson, I think the first line he said on Kill Tony,
was
I'm not retarded, but I do like rocks. It's nonsense, but it's hilarious.
That's terrific.
a bunch of people like that. I I even jotted a couple names down of people like I wanted to follow on Instagram or whatever, just because I thought they were very good.
Yeah,
But the mothership is beautiful.
it looks
And
it.
it runs like a Swiss watch. Like it runs very efficiently. But just like it's by far the nicest comedy club seats I've ever sat in.
Mm-hmm.
They don't pile you on top of each other. Like it's very nice and well done, well run. Like I've heard Rogan talk a lot about how he's done it for comics. So with that in mind, you kind of think, oh well, the fan experience might not be as good. It
Mhm.
was great. Like I loved it. The comics they put on are awesome. So top to bottom, the mothership was very cool. Austin was very cool. The food down. Oh, I didn't say that enough. Terry Black's was unreal food.
What'd
Like
you
maybe
get?
some of the best food I've ever had.
What'd you have?
He brought out. I looked at the menu beforehand,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I'm just gonna get a sandwich because it's the least obnoxious food to eat.
Yep.
And he didn't let me order. He goes, "Oh no, we're bringing out some of everything. Don't worry."
No shit. Oh, that's the best.
And so we're like, "Oh shit!" And one thing was funny though, and this is kind of like how I would be, I think maybe. But at the end, Lauren's boyfriend goes, "Well, what are y'all doing tomorrow? Maybe we'll hang out with you tomorrow too." And Lauren's like, "Yeah, or we'll see you Monday, whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, that's about right. That's more my speed."
Too nice. Reel it in.
Yeah. We don't need a vacation with these people for fuck's sake. But yeah,
So
I
you
may.
you were in
what's
the studio that like Segura and all them are in?
Yeah, while I was recording the girl that wears the front desk showed Alba like the Two Bears studio and shit.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I mean, it's an unassuming office building. Like it's in the same parking lot as like breweries and shit. But a really nice setup they have there, and they have a bunch of people working. I always feel bad with these because like there's a kid. I don't know if he was an intern or producer or what he was, but he came up to me after the show, and he was like, "Hey man, awesome job." He said some young thing to me like your Riz is off the hook or something like that.
Gross.
Well, he was being nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, thanks so much, man." And they saw me again at the mothership later.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Hey man, awesome job. Just wanted to say again, awesome job today." I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." And I realized like how rude I am, where I'm like, I didn't get his name or anything. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Thank you," and I walk away, and I'm like, "Oh, that he probably thinks I'm an asshole now," so I feel bad
You have to
for
assume though, like
interactions like
everyone's
that.
like he is blind. He can't see me.
I hope so. My therapist says that a lot, where he's like, "Well, this person knows you're blind, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess that's true." But the amount of interactions I've had where that people don't take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Where they're just like,
Oh,
"Oh yeah, Mike was a dick. He didn't shake my hand." You know?
here's an important question.
Yeah.
Recording the show with Lauren. Do you got the cane? Do you got the glasses? What hat do you got?
Glasses on,
Mhm.
cane at my feet. You can't see it, I don't think, on camera.
Yeah.
White Minifan hat.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. I was
It
like,
was.
it's either gonna be that
I
Pip Boy hat.
if I had one complaint, it would be. I think she started it by saying, "You might know this guy from Barstool Sports," but then like moved on real quick, and so I didn't have a chance to like correct her really. And I'm like, fuck.
Sounds an awful lot like here's the creator of the Blind Mike Project, Chris Acone.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not from. I don't work there anymore. They don't know me from that. So
You are from there.
yeah, you might know me from there. That's a statement of fact, I guess. You might
Yeah.
know me from there.
Yeah. It's not as
Yeah.
bad as the creator of the Blind Mike Project, Chris Acone. I hated showing you that. I was like, I swear to God, that's not what I told them.
Creator. I think you should do the Blind Mike Project.
The best part though is like just oh, this guy's great. Wrong name.
Oh, was there one other thing I wanted to say? I can't remember. Anything else? Anything else Austin base I should cover?
Well, I was just gonna say about the mothership. Like, that's the only reason I really log on to Instagram anymore is because on top of what it seemed. So, you weren't in the main room, right?
No, Lauren has her own studio.
No, I meant at the mothership. Sorry.
Oh, at the mothership? Yeah.
Because I think the main room's almost set up like a mini theater. Like it's got
Okay.
like a balcony and stuff. So I was just curious, kind of like what, like how
Oh yeah,
loud.
that I don't know. But the studio we were in, Little Boy or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
That's set up kind of like an old comedy club. Like it's it's very small. Like it's set up like a comedy club.
the
room.
circular tables and stuff.
A little bit, yeah, but like again, nicer than I've ever seen in a comedy club.
Oh,
And that's like something I've always wanted to do. Like meaning I haven't put any real effort into it, but like a fantasy of mine would be owning a comedy club.
yeah.
And I was looking around like, boy, all you need is 200 million. You could put this together.
We could do a like a month. I know we talked about this early on, but we could do like a monthly show.
I'm like, what? I'm like, what kind of leather is this, ma'am?
I need this.
This will be in Blind Mike's one day.
Blind Mike's MIC.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's creative like that sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think I'll do that, but
All right.
yeah, but overall a good experience. Now we'll wait for maybe I was just on a high. What's interesting is when the episode comes out and I'm terrible on it. Everyone's like, why would you even if Lauren texts me in a month and was like, yeah, we went back and watched and I don't think we're gonna do you a favor and not put this one out.
That'd be so funny because like right now you're like, it was great. I had
It was awesome.
Fantastic.
So she kind of sets the show up like so I said to her, I was like listening to it, it reminds me a little of Are You Garbage in the way that it's like formatted for a dating version of Are You Garbage, where it's like formatted to get to know the guest in that way, basically.
Like, have you ever done this on a date or that?
Basically,
kind of stuff?
yeah, that type of stuff. And she has certain standard questions she asks and everything. And she goes, "Oh, it's funny you say that. Tom Segura reached out to me and was like, I want to do something like Are You Garbage? Have you ever heard of them?" And I was like, boy, I guess I nailed it.
Yeah, I could actually host that.
Yeah, so that was fun. So look for that in like a month and a half or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Is that how many she's got in the can?
I think so. She was recording one right after me too, so she piles them up pretty good. And she said the South by Southwest is in Austin soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she said she has like 40 lined up that week or something. So
40? Holy fuck.
something like that.
How long was it?
40 minutes, I think.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Not they're short episodes, so
Digestible.
If you start with one, if you're like, oh, I want to see what this podcast is, start with the DeRosa one. It's great.
Yeah,
because DeRosa just giving her. He's like, have you not lived a life? Are you not a human being? Like DeRosa was getting angry at her.
DeRosa might be like in my top 5 guests on show, whatever format of all time.
I love Joe DeRosa. Yeah, I see him get a lot of shit online too, but I think he's very funny.
Hilarious.
Folks. All right. But folks, in other news this week, I know we talked about it on KMS, so I won't spend too much time on it, but the great Richard Lewis died. Very sad.
Yes.
We did do a Why You Laughing about him. People have asked if we're going to do one. We already did one, so go watch it. It's what Richard would have wanted.
Yep.
And I sent you Larry David made a statement about it.
Oh, let me pull it.
I didn't see this till this morning. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's it's wild that he even admits what happened.
Yeah,
you don't do that.
Yeah, right.
Let me pull it up here. Never really post images.
It's always a shame when we have to filter the words of a genius through Craig.
I know.
Like one of the great comedic minds of all time made a print statement, so Craig has to read it.
Statement from Larry David on the death of comedian Richard Lewis. Richard and I were born 3 days apart in the same hospital, and for most of my life, he's been like a brother to me. He had that rare combination of being the funniest person and also the sweetest. but today he made me sob, and for that I'll never forgive him.
One last fuck you to Richard Lewis.
I was reading that and I was like, why are you sending this? It's bad and hurtful.
I'll never forgive him. Yeah, I was trying to think. And I don't want to move him up the list just because he died. So if I'm being honest, I would say Curb Your Enthusiasm, top 5 side characters on Curb Your Enthusiasm, not counting Larry David.
Mm-hmm.
Marty Funkhauser, number 1.
Yep.
Richard Lewis, number 2.
Yep.
I would go Leon 3, Susie 4. And I think Ted Danson, number 5.
I think I would swap Susie and Ted. But Richard's always been so funny. Just
Richard, and again, we said this the other day, but like what was great about Richard is I don't know if there's a scene Richard Lewis was in where Larry didn't break and they just leave it in that he laughs. You know who else was that way? Larry, when the few times Seinfeld's been on the show. Yes. Larry's like that with Jerry, where it's like you can tell he just likes fucking around with those guys. Yeah. And he likes them giving him shit.
Just the giant pussy episode when the phone starts ringing, just Richard Lewis's face when he hears it is just one of the funniest things in the world.
One of the best act outs, I think, in television history is when in that episode when Larry's telling the nurse that Jeff said she has a big vagina. And he goes, huge vagina. And then as she's talking, he puts his head in it.
Yeah.
He's wearing it as a hat.
The whole episode, they just keep holding their hands up like huge. Our super special secret guest is here.
Oh, don't ever interrupt me for this son of a bitch. He interrupts me enough to read super chats on WATS Thursdays at 6. It's my pal, the great Karl Hamburger.
What is up, Morton?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, bud.
Not too much. I invited myself on the show today because Mike was plugging on WATS last night that you guys will be looking at The Fighter and the Kid live.
Oh. I said you bullied me onto this. That's how excited you were to talk about Brendan.
I know. Because I said I played like, I don't know, 6 clips from that. I could do 5 hours on that episode, that live show.
Oh, good. Yeah, I saw you. I purposely didn't listen to you talk about it because I was like, I don't want to pull all the same clips and say all the same shit he has. So hopefully we have a few different ones than you played.
We got quite a few.
First, we do have quite a few. Buckle in, buddy. But first we have his car crash, right? We have to address this. This was addressed on The Fighter and the Kid Live, but the video wasn't out yet when they talked about it.
But here's him doing donuts somewhere.
Yeah, this is for Would you also talked about Toontown, right, Karl?
Yeah, and the Toontown episode was all about he was going to learn how to drift. And so he's in this car. He's in this car, and the guy's showing him how to do the drift thing. So then he gets in his truck and just like turns kind of quickly, doesn't drift at all. And so I thought that was funny because it must have led to this happening, showing that
I'll show you
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was. He's. We have not checked in Toontown in a while. Has it gotten better since the first episode?
You're a funny guy. You're a funny guy, Mike. You're a very funny guy.
All right, let's see this video.
Emergency call to the SOS service provided by the manufacturer. To cancel, press the
Richard,
SOS
my car makes those noises
button.
when it crashes.
Starting SOS call.
You know, it's a good thing this wasn't Opie because the duct tape would have given and you wouldn't be able to see this video.
And there'd only be 12 people in the chat, so we might never find out it happened.
True. You can hear him outside the car going like, oh, jeez.
My favorite part, it would be so symbolic of Brendan's comedy career.
Retry.
Okay, what it just said is like they retry. They didn't have service to call emergency services. Yeah. It would be so symbolic of Brendan's career if they were like, yeah, sorry, buddy, you're just going to die here. No.
Can't bail you out of this one. Yeah.
But thank God Brendan's okay. But yeah, this is what we talked about when we talked about Toontown a few months ago, probably at this point. we talked about, like, Brendan, you don't need to put on another hat. You don't need to be podcaster, stand-up, UFC fighter, and now car guy as well. People are telling you you're doing too much. You don't need another field of expertise. In fact, this is one that might get you hurt.
But in fairness, he did take the stand-up hat off, and he's putting on the tune hat.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. That's addressed a little bit in The Fighter and the Kid Alive. But Jesus, Brendan, it cost him fucking $100,000 or whatever that car was. So
I know.
But then he's like, I didn't pull the clip of him talking about it, but he's like, yeah, this teaches me a lesson for next time. He was on Fox News yesterday, which I thought was a little weird.
Really?
He was on Fox News. They were asking him about it, and he was like, this teaches me a really valuable lesson for next time. So now I know how to drift and everything. And I was like, Brendan, stop what you're doing. You quit stand-up to spend time with your family. You can't do that if you're crippled or dead.
I don't know if you saw that window airbag just have that wicked blow to the side of his head, but that was the last one.
He said on the Golden Hour, he was talking about it also, and he's like, I still feel a little dizzy. Brendan, stop doing these things. I'm paying $35 a hat to try and support you. I want you alive, buddy. All right, so let's get into The Fighter and the Kid Alive, which, as Karl found out, was disastrous. We talked about it a week or two ago, right? The ticket sale aspect of it.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, our buddy Lieutenant Kirk messaged me and was like, just look at the seating chart here. Like, there's no one at this thing. And we heard Bryan Callen begging Rogan to come down. It was kind of a sad experience. And I don't know how you felt, Karl, watching this, but, like, there was a point where I felt we're going to laugh at him and everything. I felt like bad for these guys. This was sad.
The part where I felt bad was where they were talking about how, here we are with the Vulcan and the comedy mothership's just across the street. Maybe people will start coming over here and realize that this is where the show's at. People start filling in. And I was thinking, hold on a second. You guys couldn't even book this show at your buddy Joe's venue? Why are you across the street? I looked it up on Google Maps. I wanted to see. They're 1 block away from each other, the comedy mothership and the Vulcan.
I could see the Vulcan from the mothership. That's how close it was.
Yes, they're right there.
That close.
Like, so I don't think Brendan's allowed in the door at the mothership. It's weird.
It's a Thursday night, too. It's not like, they called up Joe and Joe's like, oh, I'm booked weekends through the rest of the year. It's a Thursday. How are they not getting into the comedy mothership?
He does like Shane Gillis and Friends or Ron White and Friends during the week. So they do have like big-ish shows, but the biggest thing was Rogan not even popping by.
I kind of respect Rogan for being like, hey, I've done enough for you guys.
Yeah. Right.
I've given you careers. I don't need to give you every handout that I'm able to,
Right.
Do you think he's texting Bryan Callen training wheels on a bicycle? Like, really, Bryan? Still need me there to hold the seat?
I hope so.
Right. That's why Schaub crashed. He thought Daddy Rogan was behind him. All right, so let's get into these Fighter and the Kid clips.
No, this one's just called Poor Bastards.
Right out of the gate, you're sad for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I like the diversity in here too. It is well diverse.
How we doing in a balcony? Oh, fuck. All right. It's all right, man. It's first show. It's okay. Goals. You guys will see someday.
Hold on.
You're only getting younger, buddy.
I'm only getting younger. I'm only fucking getting
Dude,
younger.
when's the last time we were on stage together?
1970. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Good one, Brendan.
So he goes first time. I realize it's their first live show. How long has The Fighter and the Kid been a podcast?
10 years at least.
This is what we talked about a couple weeks ago, and we've talked about it with Brendan a few times, where they have Benjamin Button careers, where they started crazy successful.
Huge.
And now, next week they'll be working the open mic circuit. Like they've gone in reverse order.
I just love that Bryan Callen's like, it's okay, we're building this thing. We're building this. This is the first show. It's going to get better. Like, no, Bryan, this is not going to get better. You guys are not going to do this again. I promise you.
Chris D'Elia is doing better post cancellation than these two were.
Yes.
I think most podcasts start with 200,000 views an episode and then dwindle down to 40.
The only other one I can think of is Opie.
Yeah, they're opieing their careers. But
yes.
my other takeaway from that clip is I go, what does he mean the first one.
That's what I thought.
And then I realized, oh, they're doing this monthly in Austin.
No.
So you thought ticket
Are they
sales
really?
were bad now.
Wait. For
Are they
real?
really?
Oh yeah. They go, we'll be back next month. At the end of this show, a little spoiler, we'll Tarantino this. At the end of it, they go, hey, we'll be back next month and we'll be a little more prepared next time.
Wow.
God.
Yeah, because he promised he'd have guests too. Next time, because they were promoting these special guests all along.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't you worry.
Okay.
This is them talking about the Vulcan.
Yeah, so hey, listen. I just told you guys how nice the mothership was. I went to the Sunset Strip. That was a nice place. But like, hey, there are other comedy clubs in Austin, you know?
Why do they call it the Vulcan Gas Company? Does anybody know? Good. Me neither.
Nothing?
This wasn't a gas company once? Yeah. Cool. So somebody just said, we'll call this is one of those things you just name it, huh? Just call it the Vulcan Gas Company.
Hold on 1 second. Who in the audience would know?
Locals.
Like, you're working at the club. You're the closest thing to an employee there. He says to the half full audience, anyone know why they call it the Vulcan? No? What? No one's going to work with me here? Come on, guys.
All the comedy dorks are at the mothership.
The other thing,
right.
too, is you didn't play the clip, but before these guys come up on stage, the PA announcement comes on, and the guy says, no heckling, which I've been to tons of comedy shows. I've never heard that. You don't want to introduce the term heckling to people right before a comedy show starts. They're like, oh, yeah, that's right. We can heckle if we want to. I forgot. So they say no heckling, and then immediately Bryan Callen is nothing. He gets up there and he goes, so let's see, what do we talk about? There's a word up here on the wall, Vulcan. Do you anyone know what this is? And people are like, I was told not to heckle. I don't know.
This must be rhetorical.
It's also I've heard announcements made at club where like this is a no heckling club, something like that. It's not part of the intro when you're bringing the comedians on stage.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Laugh Boston will put a thing on the screen that says like "Be quiet."
We'll kick you out or something. Yeah.
But I mean, and maybe it's different, but I've always heard, keep your talk down, keep your table talk down, don't talk during the show. You just don't say the word heckle. You don't introduce that. into
Guys,
people's minds.
no one say that Brendan Schaub's not actually a comedian, all right? If we hear the words gringo poppy, we're tossing you.
And you better know his mom if you're going to talk about her, all right? Strict rule.
That's how you do it. Just call it the Vulcan because it's like, gas.
But B, you weren't here.
This is flammable.
Vulcan was popping. This was the spot.
I love this place.
I do enjoy that the one place that will have them, they're absolutely trashing right out the gate.
This is what you gotta love, and like the Fighter and the Kids subreddit doesn't appreciate this about Brendan enough. Is like Callen is smart enough to lie to you, where Brendan will just outright say like, guys, believe it or not, despite what you're seeing tonight, this place used to be really successful. There used to be people in here all the time.
Yeah, last night and tomorrow night. Yeah,
that's the other thing is they're talking about like I've heard Vulcan Gas, I've heard big acts there, and actually Lauren Compton was telling me she hosts like used to host a weekly show there or something, and it seems like a very successful club. Just not tonight. I don't know what's different about this night that they're there, but it seems to be the one night that it's not full.
Cool story, and then fucking right across the street, dude.
Yeah, but I like this place. It's got a good reputation, and we're here, and it's about to blow the fuck up. When they find out, you know how when the Beatles, they found out they were playing on a roof?
It's about to blow up. Again, it's not an up-and-coming, unsuccessful club. That's what's weird about what they're doing is like, they think they're doing a favor to the Vulcan. It's like, no, the waiters are going to get less tips tonight because you guys are here.
You guys are so bad, everyone's going to hurt.
But does he think he's going to get a walk-up audience coming in halfway through the show? And they're going to see the marquee outside and be like, Fighter the Kid, why didn't anyone tell me? Let's get in there.
This is what you're missing. Is this, you watch this not realizing they're building to something. This is going to be a monthly show. Okay. So next month, it's going to be 3/4 full. Then the month after that, you're not going to be able to get into the fucking gas company.
So, Mike, just a thought on this. I've done some live podcasts before. Yeah. Don't you think you'd want to put on a good show if you're trying to build it so that more people start coming and word of mouth gets out and people are like, oh my gosh, did you see the live show they did? These guys come out on the stage with nothing. Not even bullet points. Just he's immediately Bryan Callen's looking around. He's just like, what's this place called? Vulcan, huh? Gas company? What's that?
It's crazy. Even crazier than that. Like, yeah, they had no opening. Maybe they're nervous because they're young up and comers, but they had nothing to the point where this is exactly an hour. This episode is exactly an hour long. If you take commercials out because they pre-record their ad reads, it's probably about let's call it 54 minutes or something.
Yeah.
20 minutes in, they start taking questions.
Yeah, I know that.
It's unreal.
Shit to do immediately.
It's crazy.
And the questions, I'm sure we'll get to it, but the questions part is so disorganized. Mm-hmm. We do a thing in our live shows where I have Jenny Jingles grab a wireless microphone, go out into the crowd, talk to people. They're just like, hey, shout out your questions.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Oh, we'll make the question exactly what we want. Here we have them talking about Rogies.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago where Callen's like, I'm texting Rogan saying, hey, maybe if you're in the area, come on by. It seems that text message was never responded to.
It didn't even say delivered.
I will say though, Austin is alive in comparison. Like, you got this is where
Hold on, wait a second.
Woo!
The sound of death cheering from the audience. One guy, this place is alive, and you couldn't script. Like, if you were putting into a TV show or a movie, the men at the end of their careers, like, trying to cope with their downfall. Silence wouldn't be as funny as one guy going, all right, out of way, boys.
Yeah, it's alive here, and then the audience sounds like it's on hospice.
I will say though, Austin is alive in comparison. Like, you got this is where
it's electric. Don't call it the gas company, call it the electric company.
I wasn't sure where to vacation next. I now know to go to
Guys, I hope security's there because there seems to be a mob approaching you.
There was more people at the open mic at the mothership than in this room.
There's more homeless than literally.
Yeah.
There's people pissing in the street that are more enthusiastic than their audience.
Where it all came. Like, Rogan was like, I'm gonna come here, and then it feels like somehow
Rogan's like the Beyonce for comedy. It's just or Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
like where he goes, everybody goes.
I know.
Except you two, apparently. But there's this weird jealousy that they get into. And I do understand that aspect of it where it's like, these were Rogan's guys, and all of a sudden it seems like they're the only ones not in Austin that can't get into the mother. I think Callen has worked the mothership, but Schaub hasn't at all. And as a show, they can't get in, which is very weird.
Yeah, I have a question about that. I don't know a lot about Beyonce, but is she known for she plays a venue and then people go there? Or she moves to a city and then everyone moves there? Is that a thing?
No, she's just really big into like ivermectin and alpha brain.
Oh, that's the comparison.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. She's subtle,
she's
but it's
down
there.
on big pharma. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. She shoots elk and eats them.
This is just called The Energy. So as you can imagine.
We've been, poo-poo. We made fun of the one guy cheering, but that could happen at any live show. Try and get a vibe for the energy here.
But would you actually move here, B? What would get you here?
I gotta. I would.
I just don't think.
I think it is for me, and I love that the comedy scene, the energy is here. I feel like, but
well, not right here. It's down the street, actually.
There's one guy who's excited. I don't know if you guys saw this, but as these guys were coming up on stage, there's a guy in the front wearing the Golden Hour jacket.
Excellent.
I think it's that guy. I think that's the super fan here who's like, woo!
It's just the guy they recently fired.
Right. He's probably one of the producers.
It's very funny to be like, there's an energy here and have no one, because we did hear a few claps. Like, clearly there are human beings.
It was
there.
one person clapping. One person went, woo!
That's what I'm saying is like, of the audience, the people there aren't even excited.
No.
They're like, oh, there's an energy in Texas? I haven't seen it yet.
You can see Schaub's excited to be there. He's like, look at us, we're doing it. And Callen's smart enough to go like, what the fuck did I hitch my wagon to?
Callen's like, I've ruined it all. They accused me of rape, and now I've just got this big lug sitting next to me.
Also, I got to point out, if you're a Fighter and the Kid fan, you don't necessarily live in Austin or anywhere. This is an internet show.
Yeah.
And when we do our live shows, we've done, Chicago, Philadelphia, Nashville. People come in from all over to come see the show. And Austin is definitely a tourist destination.
Yep.
So when they're up there and they're just talking about, hey, anyone know why this place is called this? Isn't Austin great? We should move here. Probably no one in this room is from Austin. They don't give a fuck.
That's a good point too, where people are probably, especially because it's not a packed audience, where
Right.
like with the mothership, there are a ton of tourists, I bet. But
Yeah.
also like our Uber driver was like, yeah, I've already been to the mothership 3 times. Like it's pretty cool. So like you get a mix of both, whereas for them, it's like people that wanted to see them and you got literally all of them there,
It might have been a good idea to say, hey, who here is from Austin? Like to start off the show to get a sense of, are these people from Austin or not? Like, when comedians come to Rochester and make jokes about our stupid garbage plates and stuff, everyone in the crowd gets it because no one's traveling to Rochester to see the show. We live here.
Right.
Here we have Schaub talking about quitting.
Oh yeah, so he addresses he has left the stand-up business for a moment, and he's going to address that here.
Yeah. Do you like being on stage? Because there's a rumor you quit comedy.
Didn't quit. I need a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a break.
Or is it just that you like coaching your kids?
Yeah, I like being with the kids. I hate leaving the kiddos.
Yeah. I wish they could see each
I
other.
like how Brendan CTE took over and his handler Bryan was like, "Don't you mean you want to coach your kids?"
Yeah, that's the reason I marked that clip is that Callen. I've seen Callen have to do this a lot over the years, where Brendan makes a big statement, and in this case, it's, "Hey, I'm taking a break from comedy to be with my family." So Callen sets him up to be like, "Hey, everyone thinks you quit, but that's not true, is it?" And Brendan's like, "I mean, it kind of is." So Callen has to go, "No, but you want to be with your family, right? It's about your kid. Your kid was sick, remember? You cried on camera. It was a whole thing." And Brendan has to be like, "Oh, yeah. No, what Bryan said is correct. Yeah."
Yes, I have a heart. Now,
But that's what's weird, and this is why, like, remember we played that clip of Brendan crying, and like we felt bad. We were like,
Yeah.
it's even hard for us to make fun of this.
Yeah.
There was part of me that was like, is it though? Because he's crying, yet he had the sense of presence of mind to pull his camera out and film himself. Me and Karl talked about this last night with Kelly Keegs, where it's like, are you that emotional? Because you pulled your camera out and filmed it and then posted it.
Well, in her, like with her situation, there was no reason. He at least did need to let people know he was canceling gigs.
She lost an owl, Craig. All right?
No,
Have a
the
fucking heart.
The whole state of New York lost an hour.
Exactly. She was crying for all the New Yorkers out there.
Right. That's true. Stand corrected. But this is uncomfortable rant.
Okay, so this is where it gets sad. I'm guessing you played this part, Karl, because this is out of a movie where it's a moment. I'm surprised you couldn't audibly hear people like walking out one by one. This is like a Michael Richards moment. It's actually more offensive.
What are you doing? It's 12 years, bud?
Yeah, I think
12 years, and then we kind of went down our separate paths, and then we're coming back.
Yeah, now we're coming
Okay,
back.
hold on already. I know Karl hates when I do this, but already I have a problem with this. Where he's like, they're doing this like reunion show where it's like crazy, man, crazy the run we had. Remember when we used to do a show together? They have not stopped doing. Like Bryan Callen left the show 4 years ago and came back within a few months.
In 2020, he was accused of rape, and they took him off the show and had a couple black guys fill in for him for a little bit.
This is not a reunion show. It's not a triumph of success.
Yeah, and when he says separate paths, he goes, "Yeah, no one outed me for being a rapist, so I got to keep being on the show, and you didn't."
So you went this way, you got accused of rape. I went this way, accused of fucking everything with a pulse. And then we met back up.
Right.
And to be clear, this is not at the end of the show where they're, accepting their flowers and they're like, boy, what a night we've had and what a career we've had. This is 15, 20 minutes into the episode where they're like, God, it's crazy all the guest stars that have come through Fighter and the Kid, huh?
That's 15, 20 minutes into the episode, not 15, 20 minutes into this live show.
This is like when you watch old Seinfeld reruns. And it'll be like the 100th episode where it's just clips of previous episodes.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, why do they rerun this? I don't want to see this. Yet people paid for these tickets. They're sitting there. Why are we in reruns? This is a live studio audience.
Kid.
Yeah, we never stopped, but
We stopped performing together.
yeah, I know. It was that's what happens with your life. It's funny as you guys get older and you have children and you get these things, you find that you will be taken over there. And what happens a lot of times, if you have something that's magical, if you're doing something, you won't know it until you lose it. That's what's fucking
How
weird.
profound.
You will not know how special. Like you.
Did you guys know that you won't know you're in the good times till you already had them?
Did he just describe Fighter and the Kid as magical?
Yes.
It was well. Think of it this way, Karl. Pretend you don't know who Schaub and Callen are.
Sure.
Tell you, I'm going to set up a scenario where a D-level actor from Mad TV and a UFC fighter with zero broadcasting or comedy experience get together.
What, top
And
10 in the world?
For a short time, have one of the biggest podcasts in the country and get Showtime specials out of it. That's a magic trick if I've ever seen one.
Well, okay, that's a good point. But there must have been like some kind of gimmick or hook. Like maybe do they like show cool sneakers on their show or something? Like what was the allure of this? Because what you're described doesn't sound that cool to me. I'm trying to figure this out.
Brendan had pretty cool sneakers, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow, okay,
if
now
you
I'm
like
in,
those,
now I'm
you're
in.
luck. Yeah.
Be in a time like we were in, I believe, because I'm now old enough to know, because I've been doing stand-up for 30 years. There was a time between 2016 and 2020, right before COVID, that was
when I was a kid that had only been doing it for 22 years. When I was just a boy.
These two remind me of those Looney Tunes, the dog with the smaller like ADD dog who's like ready to fight everyone. You know what I'm talking about?
Guys, I have a lot of wisdom now, but I remember back when I was 49, and I didn't know so much about the world.
that was a renaissance. It was a renaissance for comedy. We would walk into the green room and it'd be Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, Sebastian Maniscalco, Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer,
Joey.
everybody, Chris D'Elia. It'd be,
Theo.
and that was.
Are any of those people here now? Can you bring them out, please? That's amazing.
D'Elia.
we saw this in Schaub's stand-up where he's like, guys, this reminds me of Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan, and the crowd's like, fuck yeah. Hey, we know who those guys are. We like them.
Even they just lost the crowd when they were like, "Pff," and D'Elia was there, and everyone's like, all right, why?
Right.
And they're reminding everyone like, oh shit, all those guys are right down the street. We should go check them out.
And you could watch that for $23 every night. It'd be a Tuesday for real. That's what it was like.
You know.
Ron White would come. That was 5 years, 6, 7 years of that over and over. And everybody was innovating. Everybody was trying to do different things. Nobody was that famous yet. It wasn't that meteoric rise. It was just everybody still had that hunger. Yeah. And you don't.
Hold on a second. I got to pause him there. Those guys weren't that famous yet. He said Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Chris D'Elia had a sitcom.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Sebastian Maniscalco, like those guys are all very famous between 2016 and 2020. What are you talking about?
Sebastian sells out Madison Square Garden like 10 times in a row every time he comes through here.
But I love the fact that Bryan Callen doesn't think that the audience knows what the Comedy Store is or how any of this works. He's like,
shit.
can you believe that? That would be the lineup on a Tuesday night. It's like, yeah, no, we know. That's why.
Right.
That's why it's cool. We get it.
Yeah, and there's a club down the street from you right now that's recreated that.
Yes, correct.
And you're
Actually,
banging
a
on the
bar
glass.
named after the owner.
Then after that, we'd all be together and we'd be in the parking lot laughing till 2 in the fucking morning, being silly geese. And then that goes away. It just went away
Then
with COVID. It never came back.
COVID hit, then the Me Too movement hit.
Yep.
And then
Hey, Bryan, do you know anyone that was affected by that?
Credit to Schaub for bringing that up, to be honest.
Well, he's an idiot because the Me Too movement was not after COVID.
No, it was 2017.
Yeah, it was before COVID. But who got Me Too'd was D'Elia and Callen. So two of the people that they just were talking about.
Yeah, and listen, it seems like Callen's the stuff with Callen. I don't know. There's definitely a gray. It's a he said she said thing.
Oh no, I don't think Callen did anything wrong. I mean, that woman worked
Yeah.
with him on projects after what she accused him of doing. So that was bullshit.
Yeah, and he definitely got railroaded and everything. But there is an element of like, you were accused of rape. It's not like people were mad at jokes, you know?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
if true, the accusations were a bad thing. It wasn't like, hey, this guy made fun of Asian people. We should fucking get rid of him.
Even Chris D'Elia, who's accused of like statutory rape, is still selling out giant theaters.
That's true. Yes, I'm sure he's
Craig
still
always,
playing the
Craig
club.
always tells me statutory rape should be off the books, you know?
Statutory, smatchatory, I always say.
Yeah.
COVID hit, then the Me Too movement hit.
Yep.
And then
The party was over there.
and then I was like, where'd all my friends go?
I'm the only one who didn't rape anybody.
But it's only because Kalaya didn't call you.
If Annie Letterman needed a walk to her truck.
Right.
That's what
Where'd
happened.
everybody go? What happened?
Yep. Yeah. It just it literally the chaperones came in and said, "You guys are having too much fun. Fuck off."
Too powerful.
And
Having
everybody was
too
a good
much
person.
fun.
By the way, that was such an Opie statement that Bryan Callen just had. And then we'd be hanging out after the show and shooting the shit and laughing. It was like we were putting on another show just because we're all so funny and interesting. Like, fuck off.
Well, so I hear Rogan talk about a lot of that stuff too, and Rogan says it over and over again. So there's an element sometimes of like, all right, Joe, we get it.
Yep.
But with Rogan, he's not talking. Rogan's still successful, so there's
Right.
not, in fact, more successful. So there's not the element of sadness with Callen. It's more like, God, do I wish I was back there? Because what's ultimately the saddest thing about this is Callen, when Callen says like these guys weren't that famous yet, that's not really true. But Callen was in the same echelon as that. Like as far as success goes, like The
Good
Fighter and the
point.
Kid was a massive podcast.
Yep.
And he was on a sitcom, he was getting in movies, all that kind of stuff. And that's all gone. So you hear Brendan, who's oblivious to what Callen is saying. But what Brian's really saying is like, God, I am profoundly sad now.
Yes.
I'm miserable.
Listen to this list of people that I was equals to. Now they've all surpassed me by far.
Skyrocketed past me.
Schaub should have done what Theo Vaughn did and go, all these people are accused of this stuff. I'm not going to associate with them.
Right.
Now he's huge. But to be fair, Schaub's probably a better friend.
Yeah, I mean, Schaub, the one thing you can say about him is his loyalty. Look,
Yes.
he still does shows with Chris D'Elia. So.
The hardest working man in podcasting is Bryan Callen.
It's true, yeah.
Please. This is them being well prepared.
Okay, so now we get into what Karl was talking about, where it's like, so you guys did a live show, and this is the first of many live shows you're doing, apparently. Which, by the way, I don't remember. Is San Diego? Is Los Angeles right next door to Austin? Is that like a short drive?
That's not at all, no.
Okay, that's weird to me because I heard that Brendan Schaub wanted to stop traveling.
Right.
They're doing a residency in a different state.
They're gonna sell like season passes to like a ski resort for these shows. Like $99, you get all of their shows.
It's like Six Flags. If you bring 2 Coke cans, then
Yeah,
you
you get a discount.
all right, so yeah, let's see how prepared they are.
So
Been through a lot, pal.
yeah, but here we are at the Vulcan fucking gas company. How we doing up there? Woo! Fucking thanks a lot, you guys. Thanks a lot. I'm talking to them. You guys fucking thanks a lot, man. They're in the
You already
back.
made that joke, Brian.
Oh boy.
I don't give a fuck.
You guys got something
do
for
it.
us? Let's
Come on.
do it. Let's get weird. Fire away.
Well,
Little
can I tell you what that go back a little bit, Craig? Sorry, but can I tell you what that's evidence of, Karl? When you said you already made that joke,
Yeah.
that's him. You know, you make it once. Hey, maybe that's good spirited. Like, hey, we didn't sell out. I'll fuck around.
Yep.
He keeps going back to it, which and in the way he does it is very telling. Where he's like, that motherfucking balcony.
Yep.
Just that empty balcony was staring back at him. Hello, Brian.
Just
Awfully
staring at
empty up here.
seats. Yep.
I'm surprised they didn't say like the video got like encrypted or something and we couldn't release
No.
this.
Why did they release this? This is terrible. This is not a good advertisement for future live shows.
I mean,
That's the
and
thing.
they-
Is like it would be right up these guys' alley to be like to come back, not post this show, and just come back on the next episode of The Fighter and Kid, be like, how great was the Vulcan? You know,
Yep.
that's all they had to do. But
How about
they
the
let us
energy
know.
in that place? Do you remember the energy in that? There was that one guy who was like, whoa, and then he clapped 3 times. There was a lot of energy.
It really
the
was.
laughs were so loud, I got startled each time.
Yeah, they could have had fun with this. You're right. It would be great if they came back and they're like, that live show in Austin was popping, yo. And then start listing all those people you just listed, act like they were all there at the show. Bill Burr came out. Rogan was there. Theo Vaughn.
The following people were mentioned at the live show.
Our best good friend Joe Rogan showed up.
Yeah, that's what they should have done.
Talking to them, you guys fucking thanks a lot, man.
Should we open up the fan questions?
I don't give a fuck.
You guys got some for us? Let's do it. Let's get weird. Fire away, literally.
Yeah. So again, this is on the podcast. It's 29 minutes in, but again, you have to take out the intro, all the ads, which there were a bunch. So it's really, let's call it, if we're being generous, 25 minutes into the episode. They're like, well, we got nothing left. Can you guys carry the show for us? And even in Brendan's interaction where he's like, do you want to do fan questions? And Callen goes, I don't give a fuck. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
well, what else would we do? What else would we do, Bryan?
Give a fuck.
The biggest reason they shouldn't have released this is this was supposed to be like a sales pitch for the rest of their shows.
Right.
Who's watching this and going, I have to see the next one?
I gotta be well, us. Maybe I'll head back to
That's
Austin.
true.
Just any excuse to get down there.
Yeah.
Is there anything worse, though, than thinking that you're so interesting that there's going to be 30 minutes of questions coming at you? Well, I'm sure you guys are all sitting on a bunch of questions each, so let's get into that now. It's like, no, you guys talk on the internet more than anyone else. I have zero questions. I know everything about you. I got it. We get it.
That's a good point. That's a good point, too, where, like, I've been to Skankfest a bunch, and sometimes I've seen podcasts do that where at the end, like, do you guys have any questions? And a lot of times the response is not really, because we're all gigantic fans of yours.
Yeah.
We know pretty much the answer to anything you will answer. We know already.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing I'd want to ask Brendan is how pissed his wife is at him. Like, I would ask him questions that he doesn't want to answer.
Right.
Right.
But you ask if there's anything worse, and there is. Here's a confession from Schaub.
Oh, no.
I'm a gearhead.
Oh, well, we can add that to the outro.
I'm a gearhead.
I'm a gearhead.
Thank you, Brendan. We can put that right after Shane's endorsement of me.
Yeah. Yep.
What's next?
Here's a question where someone was like, you advertised that there was going to be special guests. Where are they?
Yeah, so
Good
someone
question.
stands up and says, I'm getting ripped off.
You're stealing from me?
What's up, brother? Special guest. I should have brought my phone, but the special guest was supposed to be Gordon Ryan.
Yeah.
Whoa, hold on, Brendan. Why should you have brought your phone?
Yeah, what does that mean?
That was my biggest takeaway.
I'll tell you what it means, in my opinion. I think it means I'm lying. So I'm going to pretend I'm not lying by saying, you guys are going to accuse me of lying. I'm definitely not, because if I had my phone here, I could prove I wasn't. What does that mean? I should have brought my phone. Like, he was going
to show the text that said, my tummy hurts.
He's reacting to Reddit being like, Brendan's lying.
Right.
You know what's funny is the text probably said, I'm not going anywhere near you guys. You make me sick. And he was like, oh, wow, his stomach's hurting and bad.
He didn't feel well, I guess.
Yeah. But Gordon, he just couldn't.
But his tummy is on the fritz.
Yeah, he just couldn't. He's just not feeling that well. So.
I know. It's not good.
But he'll be. We have a list.
We have a list.
We have a list. Why didn't you go down it, Bryan?
I don't know a lot about Gordon Ryan, but he's a very fragile guy, so I could see why he wouldn't be able to make it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Particularly big, tough guys like that usually say, I have a tummy ache. I can't make your show tonight.
Yeah, and that was my fault. I actually cut the clip. It was a list, but it was a list of people who said no.
So
there were a lot of big stars we couldn't get. Jerry Seinfeld.
Do you want to? I'm surprised at one point they were like, "Yeah, you want to play? Who's the most famous person in your phone?"
Right.
Something stupid like that.
Do you guys happen to know what they were charging for tickets to this?
I don't know.
Okay.
I would guess
Probably.
$30 or something.
The reason why I ask is because when you go to a comedy show, it's 90 minutes. When you do live podcasts, like when we do WATP live, we usually run 2.5, 3 hours. You pay
point.
for a show. These guys gave you 22 minutes and then went to questions. Like, that is such a fucking ripoff.
Yeah.
And
It was
the questions were all like, how you feeling, Brendan? After he talks about the crash in here, and he's like, "Well, you haven't seen the video yet, but I'll talk about it." It's like, well, we don't know what you're talking about.
How you feeling? Not so good.
Yeah, but the guest thing, like, so we have a list of people. You know, you guys spent money and traveled here and whatever else you had to do to get here. But don't worry, at a show you aren't at, there will be guests. Like,
You're right.
Don't sweat that.
Imagine traveling for this though.
Oh my God, what a disappointment.
And then you're like, all right, we can settle this. We can go to the mothership. It's sold out for the next 6 months.
That's the thing. Everything I said about the mothership, if you were interviewing a person that was at this show, they'd have the exact opposite reaction. They'd be enraged.
I can't get over how glowingly you spoke about the other place right down the street.
I didn't even do that intentionally. I forgot that I was doing that to these poor bastards, where everything they hear is mothership, 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 and they put on the worst show in Austin.
But we have reached our last clip, and you just titled it "Merciful End."
Oh, thank God! Finally, we got to the end, and that's more. You know, I said that watching it, but I think it's also what Bryan Callen was thinking, where he's like, "Just get me the fuck out of here." And this is where they, you know, kind of tease the next show. What can we expect?
Let's do one more. We got one more. We see Sanaz and Goldenhour. I don't think so, just because you already have 3 people plus Nick on there.
She's so great, though.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's good at her job. Yeah, Sanaz been cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last question for anyone that didn't understand that nonsense, the last question is, hey, so-and-so, some producer from the Golden Hour or something, how are they doing? And they're like, pretty good. That's the big... Karl, at your live show, could you end with a real dud like that for me, please?
For sure.
I mean,
That's
just like,
clear. We need one more.
just have someone ask, hey, how's Eric Zane doing? And you're like, he's fine. And then you
great.
wrap it up.
Thank you.
Hey, is Dr. Steve going to be on the show again sometime? Probably. All right, thanks, guys. That's been our time.
Well, you guys are awesome. Thank you for coming out.
Yes, thank you so much.
First one.
Oh, man.
Go back. Listen to what a dud that ends on.
But I also want to point out, both these guys have done stand-up comedy. Bryan Callen successfully. You have to end on a pop. You got to have something. They didn't start with anything. They didn't end with anything. This is terrible.
It's a question about a show Brian's not on.
That's not a closer.
just further beating in his ego. Hey, let me ask about a question that has nothing to do with you, Bryan.
Like, pull your balls out or something. You got to do something interesting to close it.
You really need an Ari Shafir.
Yeah.
Whenever we do a blind mic live show, I'll make sure someone asks me a question about Coleman, and then I'll get out of there. I'm like, I don't know, he couldn't make it tonight, but anyway, see you guys.
Yeah, let's continue this.
Yes, it has been cool.
Yeah. Well, you guys are awesome. Thank you for coming out.
Yes, thank you so much,
First one.
Austin.
You know what's? I know we just paused right there, but you can see the front few people, and none of them clap.
Oh,
Well, they're mystified. They're like, "You're done?
Look at them.
We just got here."
Some people in the back are standing up already.
I thought you were
Yeah.
warming up.
This is over?
You guys are awesome. Thank you for coming out.
Yes, thank you so much,
First one.
Austin, Vulcan.
Yeah.
Those
And
might
we'll
be
back,
booze.
and we'll next time we're gonna line up some serious guests. We're gonna actually be more organized.
Yeah, and hopefully Gordon Ryan's all right.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Great.
And then it just ends.
oh man.
Like, hey.
Not feeling well. Well, we'll be in the corner over there if you guys want to touch us. It's $10, and
All right, guys, love you. Austin, thank you so much. Vulcan, thanks for having us.
Callen gets a laugh, and Schaub's like, all right, let's run.
I don't think the $10 thing is a joke, because remember when we saw Brendan Schaub live, Craig?
Yep.
There was a meet and greet price as well.
Is it $10?
So I think they were being serious.
Probably.
Yeah. So I think you had to pay extra, even though there were only 40 people there. Like, only the people that paid extra could go say, "Hi, Brendan. Good to see you."
Well, they tell a story too, where they see a fan outside earlier in the day, and Bryan Callen's like, and I'm very gracious with our fans. I love meeting them. I shake their hand. I take a selfie. I'll do all the stuff. And Brendan's over there just ignoring him. And Brendan's like, I'm the one who's handling all the logistics of this. I'm thinking, wait a second, Brendan's handling the logistics of your live shows? There's a problem right there.
I don't know if you saw the audience, but yes, that would make sense, actually.
It does, yeah.
It does. The way the Fighter and the Kid is operated, it does make sense that Brendan is the mastermind.
Yeah, he's obviously booking the guests. No one showed up. He's picking the venue no one wanted to go to. A Thursday night makes no sense.
That was a great story too, because it was a fan. That might have been the first question where a fan goes, "Hey, I saw you guys earlier. Bryan was really cool, but Brendan was like kind of a dick to me."
Yeah,
and Brendan was like, "Oh well, I get nervous about people on Reddit," and the guy's like, "Well, I'm a living human being."
Do I look like a subreddit to you?
I was there saying hello.
Dude's shirt just has a thread on it.
Yeah. So it's tough, but I think next month, as these things often do, I think it's good not to saturate the show by doing it every single month at the exact same place and just hoping more people, I don't know, sprout out of the ground or something. More people just exist.
To be fair, I could see a scenario in which we're like, we have to get down there for the next one.
Yeah,
I could see. It depends if the next one, if they don't have a guest and the guy cancels because he has a stomachache, then I think we got to go. Then we have no choice, really. All right, Karl. Well, thank you for popping in to break this down, because we need another pair of eyes on this thing. It was an atrocity.
Thanks for having me. There's not enough hours in the day for me to break down all these podcasts that are happening, so I appreciate it.
We are we'll probably get to it later in the show, but I know you guys talked about Joe Matarese, right?
Yes.
So
Joe Matarese has become self-aware. I don't know if you saw our latest episode, but he goes, "There's this guy on the internet. He's goofing on me. He says I'm the worst." Oh, you do have that? He goes, he says I'm the worst interviewer in the world, and he's right. Okay, if you have the clips, I won't spoil it, because he shits on every guest he's ever had on his show. It's incredible. We'll
get there. But what I was going to say to you is I appreciate you, like, Red Bar put Joe Matarese up for adoption. Yes. And I, as a single mother, was trying to maintain him. And at a certain point, it was too much. So I appreciate you guys taking some of the slack off of me.
Yeah. I'll see him on weekends. I'll take him off your hands on weekends. No problem. Every other holiday. Guys, WATPlive.com. We're going to be live down in the Tampa area of Florida. It's actually Largo, Florida. We got a beautiful theater. Revenge of the Sis is going to be there. All the people from Who Are These Podcasts. March 22nd. It's a Friday night. WATPlive.com is where you can get tickets for that. We will put on a real show. We won't just be standing around staring at the wall and going, "Hey, look at the color of that wall over there, huh?" Crazy.
Anyone got anything?
Start the show and be like, this place fucking sucks.
This place used to be popping, yo.
Yeah. Is it down the street from the Tampa Comedy Club or something where you could be like, now that place is cooking?
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, go check out Karl in Vegas also. He's got a Vegas live show, so check that out, for God's sake. WATPlive.com. And what a pro. That's how bad a broadcaster I am, is I didn't think to give him his plugs.
He knew.
Yeah,
he knew.
The man's a pro.
Yeah.
All right. Should we get into Shane Gillis? People have been waiting for my Shane Gillis take.
Yeah.
I haven't really said what I thought about it yet.
Yeah, you got asked about it for like 2 seconds, I think.
No, I don't even know if I mentioned it on the show, really. It was more. Justin said, I'm sorry, my GIF game wasn't up to Justin's standards. I guess the GIF I posted wasn't fire enough, but I thought it did fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people when SNL started, it was just set up for him to come out as Trump, and it just didn't.
Okay. So I think we all have the same opinion on the open, right?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Even so Louis, we have some clips from Legion of Skanks and the Bonfire that Shane was on this week. And even Shane, like Louis asked him, he goes, "Were you part of the writing for that horrible cold open?"
Yeah.
And Shane goes, "I had nothing to do with that. That was not me." He goes, "I thought they made Trump sound kind of cool." But that was an abomination. And to me, that's my biggest takeaway from SNL this week or last week.
Yeah.
Is that is it crazy to you? I don't know how often you watch. I don't watch at all. I watched a few clips when Nate Bargatze was on this year. That's the only episode.
Yep.
The craziest thing to me is that Shane, by far, was the star of the episode.
Yes.
Like, there's not a sketch where he wasn't the main guy.
Correct. That was like an old school episode, the way it used to be.
I don't agree with that. Like, I think, sure, there are examples. Obviously, like Alec Baldwin and Steve Martin and Tom Hanks and those guys have like signature characters from that show. But I think back in the day, the host would sometimes be the straight man. But my takeaway from it was like, oh, there are no characters on this show. There's no funny recurring things that they do.
Yeah.
They wanted Shane on so the episode would be good.
Right.
Like, that was the craziest part to me, is like, clearly this guy's the star. There is no Will Ferrell, Mike Myers, whoever, you know?
Or even like
Eddie
more
Murphy.
recently, there's not even like a Bill Hader or Pete Davidson.
Andy Samberg, someone. Yeah, there's no one. I know who Kenan Thompson is, obviously, and the Weekend Update guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I know anyone else on that show.
Oh my God, was Weekend Update also atrocious?
Yeah, that's when I kind of started drifting off a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say though, the one thing I'll say about Jost and Che is it was obvious to me that Michael Che and Rosebud Baker and whoever else on that writing staff knows Shane.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious they took the reins and were like, we're going to cater to him.
Yes.
Because it was a lot of, even the sketches that like weren't great were clearly like, let's try and match Shane's tone, which is why it's weird that McKeever didn't get anything on.
Well, they even said too, like they went to pitch and then they immediately were just like, "Fuck this."
we have some clips about that, so let's get into them here.
Yeah, this is. Do you want Bonfire or Legion of Skanks first?
Let's go with the Bonfire ones. I think they go in good order.
This is just Shane addressing it.
Oh yeah, so this is talking about. So Bobby, I didn't hear him talk about this on Skanks really, which I was kind of surprised by. So. The one thing is everyone, the Norm monologue kept getting posted all week.
Yeah.
Everyone thought Shane was going to go scorched earth. By the way, I didn't get enough praise in the comments. Can we give me some praise for this? I nailed exactly how this would go. Am I wrong about that?
I was kind of surprised that he just came right out with it.
But I think that's exactly how I predicted. Am I wrong?
I don't remember. To be
of course
honest,
you don't.
I mean, yes,
God
you
forbid.
did. Yes,
God
you
forbid.
did.
Why would you?
Yes, you did.
Why would you have my back? You say I owe you $50 now? Is that what the staff of this program does?
I don't know. Did you call me a pedophile on Lauren Compton show?
I did. That came up actually.
And I think you owe me 50.
I wanted to slip. I probably would have gone with Justin instead of you.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to slip in a reference like that, and I just couldn't find the right segue.
It'd be a tough spot on a dating show.
Yeah, to mention pedophilia. Yeah,
yeah,
I guess so. Yeah.
Why is that on your mind?
All right, yeah. So let's hear. This is Shane on the Bonfire.
But when you went in there, were you like, did you like have an idea? Like, I want to try to like kind of address that and do a skit on that.
Yeah, we talked about it.
And why didn't you? Because I was kind of hoping that you'd address that or something. Or
I don't know. There's really no way to do it where I don't know.
It's kind of set up. It's kind of a setup to fail.
Yeah,
like people can only. It's risk versus reward. People can only get angry or get shitty about it.
Yeah.
And either the sketch is me coming in and saying, I'm so sorry. You know, or I'm coming in going, I don't give a fuck, which neither are very likable.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
How many skits of yours got in?
None.
You didn't get any?
Nothing.
How many did you have?
I 3, 4.
Three?
We got in, me and McKeever. I brought McKeever. We got in there and immediately folded. We got in there. We gave them like 3 ideas, and they were like, and we're like, yeah, you're right. They suck. We suck. Sorry.
Yeah, so they just like they, out of self-loathing, they were just like, yeah, no, whatever. We don't need our sketches on. But I really don't. I don't agree with him that there was no way to approach it. I think they could have approached it and be self-deprecating, but also acknowledge that Shane kind of got fucked over. I think that would have been. I thought that would have been very easy to do with Bo and Yang. Like if him and Bo and Yang wrote a sketch about that.
Yeah.
You kind of have. I don't know how Bo and Yang really feels about the whole thing, but like you have both perspectives there. Maybe I think that would have been fairly easy to write a sketch about. I say easy. Like obviously, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I couldn't write a good one, but I'm saying for someone as funny as Shane, like I think he could have pulled that off.
Yeah, we will talk more about Bo and Yang in a moment.
We will. Yes.
But this is, I think, Robert Kelly asking him if he wishes he was on the show.
But I just want to say one more thing about the monologue where he comes out and says basically don't Google it. Like if you don't know what happened, don't Google it. Yeah. Were you the one telling me about his interaction with Louis C.K.? Was it you that said that?
About wanting to take a picture with him?
I don't know. But someone told me recently, I haven't found the audio of this, but someone said that he asked Louis about the monologue, like what he should do for the monologue. And that Louis basically told him, like, do your best material. Most of these people don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
And that Shane was like, yeah, but you did like a totally different set on SNL. And Louis was like, yeah, well, I'm way better than you. I can do that. No one knows who the fuck you are.
Right.
So my perspective on it was kind of that, like, ultimately, most of the people watching that show, maybe not most, but a lot of the people watching that show, don't know who Shane Gillis is, don't even know why he's on necessarily, don't know that whole story of him getting fired. Like, there are legitimately, we forget that, there are some people in that audience that when he said don't Google it, might have actually Googled it to see what the fuck happened.
Right.
So, keeping that in mind, saying like, hey, this was a huge thing in my world, but in the NBC world, a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about, so why would I draw attention to it by going scorched earth in the monologue? Also, like, I do think he did the best thing for his career, where it would have been hilarious for us if he just did 8 minutes on why SNL sucks now and why he would have been so much better there and how he was wronged.
See,
we would have been standing up cheering for him, but I don't think that's the best thing for his career necessarily.
Where he was smart, though, is he mentioned it. He didn't listen to Louis' advice and did basically a set just for people that knew him. Yes. And then then he proved why he should have been on the show throughout the rest of the episode.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So he, in the monologue, there's been a lot of articles about his stand-up, and it's either, this is what I hate about all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought way too much was made of it in both directions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was the return of comedy or the greatest thing that's ever happened or anything like that. I also don't think it was terrible. I don't think he bombed. I don't think he did a bad job. I thought for his first time hosting SNL, it was pretty solid.
Well, he came out for like the first 2-3 minutes. He was wicked nervous. And
you could definitely tell he was nervous, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
You know? Like that wasn't crazy. But then he warmed up at the end, and like, yeah, I was joking when I said that he got gay and retarded on the monologue, but I also wasn't, in the sense that like, I don't care, you know, I don't care if you say, I'm not like, cool, he said gay. My point is more like, oh, he was himself in an SNL monologue and got away with shit that a lot of guys didn't get away with. All the way down to like, he said that no one's ever worn a t-shirt in the monologue.
Yeah, so he put a watch on.
And he's like, I'll put a watch on if I can wear a t-shirt. And they were like, okay, I don't know what that means, but sure.
He's dressed up.
Yeah.
Louis wear a suit when he was on?
Huh?
Did Louis wear a suit when he was on?
So he must have worn, I thought the same thing. I was like, Louis didn't wear a t-shirt, but he must have worn a collared shirt or something.
Maybe. His monologue was maybe the greatest I've ever seen.
Well, that's what I was talking about when I'm like, oh, Shane said gay and retarded in the monologue. Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, similar to Louis made a pedophilia joke.
Yeah.
Where it's like, holy, good. He was himself. Good for him for pulling that off.
Yeah.
That's what I thought about Shane, where he talks about having Down syndrome and all this shit. Like, he was true to who he was as a comic. So it was an advertisement to everyone that doesn't know him. Hey, this is what I do. I'm pretty fucking good at it. And now I can leave SNL and I don't have to deal with this, which is actually also kind of nice, which is what he's talking about in the next clip.
Yeah. People were talking about him like recycling material on there. He had like a setup to get into a topic that was the same, but the material about it was different.
Yes, but even that I don't care. Like that's what
No.
Mulaney does that too. Like
Yeah.
Mulaney does stuff that's going to be in his next special. He does it on SNL. I think Nate did the same thing where Bargatze said the 8 minutes you saw on his SNL monologue, a lot of that's going to be in his special, but it's going to be different. It's like SNL, while important, it's not what it used to be, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So like Shane wants to impress the audience and everything, but also like, should he just waste his best material on Saturday Night Live? I don't think so.
No, and I think he for sure did bomb in the room.
Well, he said that and addressed it, which is kind of funny, but it's like I didn't think he was doing bad. I just think he was doing material that, you know what it mainly is he's doing material that an SNL crowd is like, am I allowed to laugh at this?
Yeah, because I mean, he literally did a joke just to call his dad gay on national TV that got no laughs, but I was laughing so hard watching it.
Yeah. And that's again like the people in that audience don't know his dad. They don't know Phil Gillis.
Right.
That he falls asleep to Fox News, you know?
Right. No, Nancy Pelosi's a bitch. That guy.
Yeah, so I thought he did very well, but this is him talking about the SNL experience, and we talked about this in the Why You Laughing about Shane getting fired, where like he's always been very, when people say, hey man, it's the best thing that ever happened to you, you wouldn't have fit in there, whatever. Shane's been like kind of defensive about that because he's like, I don't know, maybe I could have been Will Ferrell, maybe I could have been Eddie Murphy there or something, you know?
And I think he probably could have been.
Well, I agree with you. I think talent-wise, he could have been, but this is his realization after the show.
Were you like at the end of this, and you did it, and you're out? Were you happy? Was there a part of you like, dude, I wish I was part of this? Like, or you like, dude, I'm so glad I didn't get this fucking job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
There was, I got done and I was like, oh yeah, this worked out.
Yeah, because you get to go home.
Yeah.
And not do
I was
this
like,
again?
damn, you guys got to be back here on Monday.
Oof.
That's fucking crazy.
Start that all over again.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is a really fucking hard job. I don't know how they do it.
It's crazy.
I don't think so. Everybody this whole time has been like, you dodged a bullet. You wouldn't have fit in there. I've been like, I don't know. I think I could have done it.
I mean,
1 week
you
I was
could've done
like,
it.
I'm all right. This worked out.
it worked out. But if you, I mean, if you were on the show, you would have been one of the stars of the show.
Yeah, but this worked out.
Yeah, this worked out.
I like even the acknowledgement. He's like, yeah, no, I would have been one of the stars of the show, but this is
Yeah. I thought that was like an out of character response for him.
because the way Shane got successful is how his fans would have wanted him to get successful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I much prefer his stand-up and his podcast and Gillian Keeves and him doing Rogan and all that shit.
And let's
I
not
much prefer
forget,
that.
Tires is coming. I'm so pumped about that.
That's the other thing I was going to say is, so Tires is coming out on Netflix. Is Stavros also in that?
I don't know. Was he in the pilot?
They advertised it as Shane, Stavros, Kyla is in it, by the way.
Yep. And Gerbies.
Is so does McKeever write that also?
Yes.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. The Netflix promo for it was just a picture of Shane Gillis and McKeever.
Oh, look that up. See if Stavros is in it, because I've seen Stavros teasing something with Netflix, and then I thought I saw that he was advertised as part of it, but yeah, if you guys didn't see, the show Tires, picked up by Netflix, which is basically just a sitcom that takes place in like a auto shop, which again sounds perfect. Like that's the way I can see Shane making it as mainstream. Like SNL doesn't, again, while I think he could have been very good there, I don't know if that's his voice. It might have changed him as a comedian. He might be a totally different guy. Maybe, who knows what level of success he would be. Now I think it's perfect where he's selling out massive shows and kind of doing it the way he wants to do it.
Yep. So the creators are McKeever, Gillis, and Steve Gerben.
Okay.
And it stars Chris O'Connor, which is awesome.
O'Connor's in it too?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's in.
Good.
Have you seen the pilot on YouTube?
No, so I looked for it and I think they took it down.
Oh, dude, it is on Twitter. Someone posted the whole thing. It's 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's so fucking funny. But O'Connor's in it, Kyla, and Stavros is in it.
Oh, okay. Stavros is in it. Good.
And he's like a guest star, and there's a guest appearance by Schultz apparently. So that episode will probably suck.
Oh, okay. So Stavros and Schultz aren't like main characters.
No, Stavros is.
Oh, nice.
Which is he's a perfect tire shop guy.
Stavros is perfect for it, and O'Connor's perfect for it too. Hey, guys, if you go watch the predictions for 2024, comics about to blow up.
Yeah,
might see a name in there.
Yeah, from the
pilot. Scout Mike got his clipboard out.
From the pilot, O'Connor's like one of the it's like him and Shane.
I hope so. That'd be great if and that's very cool. I always like seeing comics do that shit when they put their friends and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why you, like, no matter what horse shit Sandler has made over the years, you got to respect the shit out of him because every movie he does is just him and his buddies. Yeah,
they all get at least a payday of some kind.
But that will be like that'll be great if that's an opportunity for guy like Ian Fidance to be in a Netflix show. You know,
right?
Just people like that. You know.
Right.
But yeah, excited for tires. So now we get to the Legion of Skanks clips, right?
Yep, and this is them talking about the monologue again.
Okay.
And this is their YouTube. They edit it so it doesn't. So if you hear what sounds like a clip or something, it's them editing out retarded, I think.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I should have said this at the beginning of this segment. The reason we're not playing Shane's monologue and everything is because we would get taken down immediately.
We'll probably get taken down for this because YouTube is great.
Yeah, but our friends at Saturday Night Live, it's nothing crazy. It's just that, like, if we played Shane's monologue, say, then Lauren Michaels gets to watch while I think it's Colin Jost and Michael Che double penetrate me if I were to post the monologue. I forget if those are the two they pick, but whoever it is, they fill my ass and mouth if I play any of their clips. So.
Did they give you? Did they know you were going to say gay and retarded in the monologue? They had to, right? They knew it. They just didn't do what you're going to do.
No, I didn't do it at rehearsal.
Really? You didn't, and you just said fuck it.
Hold on, I do like so. Legion of Skanks was packed. This was 2 nights after, and the stand filled up because everyone knew Shane was going to be there and everything. And it's like a fucking frat house where everyone's gathered around listening to Shane.
Yep, watch him.
And they're like, "Hell yeah, brother!"
Watch him drink his cold, refreshing Bud Lights.
Yes, shout out Bud Light.
Well, that's why Questlove wasn't laughing.
He did not laugh at rehearsal for that. Yeah.
You didn't give him the shit.
Yeah, there was a lot. There was like nobody's ever worn a T-shirt. You can't wear a T-shirt. You got to wear a jacket.
Wow.
I was like, I'll wear a watch with it. And they're like, fine.
Okay. A watch. So they didn't know you were going to say gay and retarded in it. And did they say anything afterwards?
Some people knew. I told
the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all that matters. The right people knew.
Lauren?
No.
So he said that basically he's like, "Hey, Lauren, can I say?" And Lauren was like, "Don't tell me. I don't want to know." Like, plausible deniability was the name of the game, basically.
It was basically Michael Che said, "All right."
Yeah, right. Fine if you want to. So I think ultimately, at the end of the day, 5 years later, I think respect to Lauren Michaels, because it's I listen. I don't know the inner workings of Hollywood. It seems to me like Lauren Michaels should have been able to say, "Hey, fuck you guys. The kid was talking on a podcast. He's not a racist. We're keeping him." But I don't know how that stuff works. Maybe that's very naive of me. I'm not a showbiz guy, you know.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I think respect to Lauren Michaels for keeping tabs on Shane, keeping an eye on, like, staying in touch with him, complimenting things he's done. I guess Lauren was like supportive of Gillian Keeves and that stuff. So for Lauren and only 5 years later to be like, "We want you back on the show."
Right.
I think that's ultimately cool of Lauren Michaels. It makes me respect him at the end of the day, which I'm sure he needs.
And here, oh, by the way, I tweeted this out while I was watching. The first sketch that they did after the monologue was more or less exactly why he got fired.
Oh, I don't know if I know what that was.
He was doing like a black Jamaican accent.
Oh yeah, I thought that was one of the lesser sketches.
Yeah, I just the reason that one was funny was just the way he looked and how serious he was.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
was,
that is maybe that was a subtle homage to I don't know. That is weird that they did have him do that.
I was watching. I thought he got fired for this.
I thought one of the better sketches of the night was Rock Bottom Kings. I thought that was very funny.
That was funny.
I was actually surprised to find out they didn't. Gillis and McKeever didn't write that one.
It was almost set up like a Tim and Eric sketch.
Yeah, but it had their vibe, like the idea of watching your friend lose everything and betting on it.
Yeah,
that felt like them. So I was surprised. Good on SNL for knowing their tone, I guess.
I know it's been talked about a lot, but the fucking Liberty Mutual thing that got cut was so funny.
So everyone says that was the best sketch of the night. Why did it get cut? It was very visual, so I didn't appreciate it as much. You know?
Oh, dude, it was. I mean, the emu was just a dirty cop. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. But just for me, it didn't get me. Obviously,
my favorite part was not because it was a Trump sketch, but like the like Mike thing with the shoes was just having Shane do Trump, and then the guy they had to have be Trump go next to him, and you could see how inferior he was.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
It wasn't as good as Shane's Trump sketches, obviously.
Not even close.
But again, I'm glad they let him do it. You know,
they let him do it
again.
Guy that does Trump, and it was just terrible in comparison.
Again, kind of acknowledging like, hey, this is what we missed out on the last 5 years.
Correct. But here he is talking about the Bo and Yang situation.
Oh yeah, so this is something we did kind of wonder, and it's interesting. They address it like I thought Bo and Yang said something about this.
So if I'm remember, so that's what I was going to talk about when we brought him up earlier. Yeah. I was going to wait for this part. I almost remember us spending like 30 minutes on it.
No. Bo and Yang said something about like Chappelle.
Oh, I thought it was about Shane.
No, because that wouldn't have lined up.
No, I know, but I thought we like talked about it on like some special like Patreon only thing we've done or something.
No, we did talk about Bo and Yang, but it was something else. It was like Musk or Chappelle or something.
I could have sworn he like tweeted out something or put quotes in an article about it.
Well, that goes to we probably think that because like bad reporting goes both ways. Where you know there are plenty of people that will shit on Shane. There are just as many people that'll shit on Bo and Yang for no reason. So this is what Shane said about him.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Bo and Yang's cool.
Hell yeah.
He is.
Can I say?
No, I swear to God.
Can I ask for confirmation on this? And I might be wrong.
No, I swear to God.
And I've said this out loud a lot, and I might be wrong about.
Why would I lie?
No, I don't think you're lying. But can I say something?
Shane, stop arguing with you.
Am I wrong? Was Bo and Yang a kind of a? Did he just get like lumped in like they just kind of made it like he had a problem with him because he was the Asian guy? I don't think did he ever say anything?
No, they do. Yeah, whatever.
I keep saying that with the thing. I don't think he said anything.
He never said anything publicly. I don't think. He got stuck the same way I got
because
stuck.
He was the Asian guy who got hired.
Yeah. It got put on him, so that sucks.
It was weird. I know. I started watching the show. I watch the show every week, and I watched the
crazy.
Show. Yeah.
That is very weird. I don't picture Big J watching that every week, but. Also, by the way, funny of Shane to be like, well, that's nuts of you.
Why would you do that?
To watch when I'm not on.
Psycho.
But yeah, I mean, you know, and that doesn't make me like Bo and Yang anymore. I think he's funnier, but it does like there's a weird thing, and this is what the media does to you. It's like what we talk about all the time, and usually we talk about it in the other direction. But there is a thing where it's like people get in your head and they're like, hey, Bo and Yang is against Shane. And it just never happened. It's a fucking Mandela effect or something.
This was another thing I tweeted out while I was watching is right at the end. You know how he's like, thanks for coming. Good night. And the credits roll and everyone hugs for some reason.
Yep.
Shane walks up to Bo and Yang. They're about to handshake and it cuts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It cut away right as that was about to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. The one thing I will say is I do believe that was a big enough story that it should have been addressed in some way. Other than Shane saying, don't Google it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to me, and now I think the way it worked out is, again, probably the best for Shane's career. Now he's on the other side of it. He's bigger, but there's some articles like, oh, he sucked or oh, he was great. But other than that, no harm, no foul, and now tires I think will be a big success.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it worked out. He did the smart thing for his career, and I didn't realize. We've told the Norm story before. I had never heard this part. I heard it this week as people were talking about it. And maybe I had heard it and just forgot it. That Artie Lang is the one that told Norm. Like Norm was like, maybe I just go fucking scorched earth on this place. And Artie Lang, or Norm, because Norm wanted to leave. Remember we talked about that? Just leave after the monologue.
Yep.
And Artie Lang goes, "That's hilarious." Crazy that Artie Lang had this insight.
Yeah.
Artie Lang goes, "That's hilarious. You'll never work in show business again if you do that."
True.
And Norm was like, "Nah, all right." So there's a route that Shane could have taken where we would have loved it. People on Reddit would be jerking their dicks off about it, but it probably wouldn't be the best for Shane's career. So I think he probably ultimately made the right choice. And I thought he was good. There was a lot of debate, like, was he funny? Was he not? I thought he was funny. Like, I didn't think it was the greatest thing I've ever seen him do. I didn't think it was the worst. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought the HR bit was my favorite.
That felt that was almost like if you have, Donald Trump on back in the day, you have to do like a "you're fired" sketch.
Correct.
That felt like we need to do just a Shane sketch,
Yeah, that one and the Forrest Gump one was funny. He was playing like a character like that too.
Yeah, that was funny. All the sketches seemed to like understand Shane's tone comedically, which I was actually impressed with that they gave a fuck enough to do that.
Right.
I will say, I sent a foolish text.
To Shane?
Yeah.
Oh god, here we go. I can't wait for this.
The contents of which I'm not embarrassed by.
Yeah.
I said, very cool to see you do this, man. Congrats. That's not that bad, right?
No.
Would you care to guess when I sent it?
1:05 a.m.
Like 11:50.
Before it was over?
Yeah. I was like, why did I do that? If he's looking at his phone, he's going to be really annoyed.
I'm going to guess it went unanswered.
And then the next day I heard him say that his phone was off and he just woke up to a million texts.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, am I an idiot?
You should have saved it for like yesterday.
Yeah. So it was not answered. Probably not read.
Probably not.
Which that in a way is kind of nice. He probably doesn't know I sent it, which is good.
He won't judge me. I'll just judge myself.
Congrats, man. Yeah. So congrats to Shane for Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
We go into Mr. Matarese next?
We sure are.
This is troubling. We thought Bryan Callen was troubling earlier. This is a man in dire straits. So, as you heard my exchange with Karl, Mike David from Red Bar introduced us all to Joe Matarese. Porcelain did a beautiful job of summarizing the life and career of a man.
Yep.
And I like to think that I kind of I lit a dead torch, know?
Yep.
I saw a torch in the woods that had a little juice left in it.
Yeah.
And I said, let me fire this thing up. And I'm glad to say Karl has picked up on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's inspired Joe Matarese to be even more insane than he was before.
Now he's in his head.
Joe's losing his mind again. Why are you doing this, Joe? Stop it.
He was better off when he didn't think anyone was watching.
Yeah, so we talked about Mike Racine was a guest on his show.
Yep.
Now, do you remember me saying this, Craig? You don't remember anything I say, so probably not.
That's not true.
See if you can remember this one.
Mm-hmm.
I said, honestly, we're going to goof on this. But if Joe just has a comedian that's a good guest, like a Mike Racine or Jordan Jensen, whoever, that's the best format he's had so far. He should just stick with that.
Right.
Well, advice unheeded. because he is yet again. It's crazy. You would think I'm just making it up how often this guy switches formats.
Yep.
But we have yet another new format for Uncle Joe.
No guests. How about you take some audience calls and we figure out what's going on with this crooked contract you signed for your agent?
Oh, is it the first clip?
What do you mean by?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it started here. This is a guy in the chat, by the way. Sorry, I didn't realize it started here, so I'll set it up a little better. But he's now doing... So he was invited on Kevin Brennan's show.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw, Kevin just reads Super Chats for his entire show. Just goes live and reads Super Chats.
Yep.
Now, we've been critical of how Kevin Brennan does a show here.
Yep.
But the one thing I will give him is Kevin Brennan gets easily enough Super Chats to just read those for an hour or however long he does.
This is probably a good time to mention that we aren't live right now.
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, if you've been Super Chatting us, we appreciate it, but we're not live.
Yeah, I can't believe how many we got.
Yeah. Well, I hope a couple people are watching this premiere because Joe Matarese acknowledges at one point, this seems impossible, what I'm about to say. One person was watching live on YouTube.
That can't be right.
You know what? Maybe it's not. I might be thinking of Coach HP.
That could be more right.
Yeah. Coach HP. I did see Coach HP go, he goes, all right, we got one on YouTube. That's good. No, Matarese was probably more. I'm sorry. Matarese, when I checked last, was more like 10 or 11. I'm sorry.
Right.
That was crazy of me to say.
He sees Kevin Brennan go read Super Chat, so he just reads regular ones.
Well, that's the thing is he's relying. So now Joe is doing a show reliant on the chat and him riffing. If you remember the first episode back, he was like, guys, the last thing you're ever going to get on this podcast, last thing you're ever going to get is a lack of topics and any sort of guests. So he had guests on, and now he has no topics. So he's abandoned everything, the principles he once held so near and dear to his heart. All right, sorry, this is him interacting with the chat now.
Yes, how about you take some audience calls and we figure out what's going on with this crooked contract you signed for your agent? Now, what do you mean by that, Spooky?
I'll tell you what he means, Joe. Spooky.
Everyone knows exactly what he means.
I'll tell you what he means. This is where, Joe, you got to listen to us. You can't just listen to WATP. I know they're a bigger show than us, but you got to also listen to us because sometimes we give you a nugget once in a while. What this man is talking about is the $100,000 you allowed someone to spend on your behalf that you're going to have to pay when that special comes out.
Wasn't it more than that?
I think he said 100,000.
Oh, why do I have 250 in my head?
Oh, because I'll tell you why. He said he won't accept $1 less than 250.
That's right. That's right. That's not up to him.
No, of course it's not.
DJ Electra even says, I even know what he means.
Yeah, well, that's the crazy thing about Joe's life. We all know what's going on, and he doesn't.
Right.
What I didn't even sign a contract with my agent. So
why?
And
it's not the chatter got it wrong, and Joe's kind of playing dumb a little bit. It's not his agent. It's just some mystery benefactor.
Yes.
Yeah.
About a week ago, him and I are no longer working together. We split up admirably.
Amicably.
And here's to me being free.
My God, that's quite a way those two split up.
I admire that.
Oh, can I paint that breakup?
Can you guys stand still?
I'd like to frame that and hang it in my home so I can admire this breakup every day. We split up admirably.
On the episodes, we'll start with maybe different bourbons every week. You guys have some bourbon, go get some.
Joe. So Joe now thinks, hey, guys, new format. What if I just drink on the show?
You guys want to see me get bombed?
Guys, what if we took We Might Be Drunk, and you suck the talent, like Space Jam. You take the talent out of Sam Morril and Mark Normand.
Yeah.
and you get rid of the format they have. You don't go over bits or pet peeves or anything like that. It's just the drinking aspect. I'll watch any show where the guy has a drink in front of him. I don't care the content coming out of his mouth. What if I pour a guys? Hey guys, would you like me more if I was drinking bourbon? I know Joe drinking water did nothing for everyone. What if it was a brown liquor? What a horse's ass.
Next, we have him talking about his guest situation.
This is incredible, and I think this is what Karl was alluding to. It is the most disrespectful I've ever heard anyone. And can I say, Jordan Jensen and Mike Racine are at least two of the guests he was referring to. I don't know if he's talking about them specifically, but they were both on his show recently. Both more successful comedians than him at a much younger age and much funnier than him. Like, I think Jordan Jensen and Mike Racine are like two up-and-coming comedians, whereas Joe is at the end of a never-was career.
Right.
Listen to what he's about to say to these people that have donated their time to talk to this mook.
I do like the, let me pour it on camera. I do like the no guests. As if you go look on YouTube, there's a lot of different guys out there that like are trolling my podcast.
Hey, that's us.
We
made the cut. I think we're part of the guys.
We made it.
And it's like funny to me. And I forget which episode it was. It was 2 episodes ago. They posted it.
Whoa. The memory cleared up awfully fast there, Joe.
He's not that big into the bourbon yet.
I forget which episode it was, but it was exactly this one. I can't, my memory's a little fuzzy. I can't seem to remember the episode, except I remember the exact number and when we recorded it and posted it.
I remember what I was wearing.
Yeah, my memory's a little fuzzy though. Also, I like that he's like, this is how Joe thinks entertainment works. He goes, "Let me pour the bourbon on camera."
Yep.
As if we'd all be sitting at home going, "What? The drink's just in your glass? How'd it get in there, Joe?"
To be fair, we don't see how Karl's gets in there.
No, I suppose that's fair. We don't
Podcast interviewer of all time, and
go back. We got to hear him. He at least has some self-awareness, kind of.
I forget which episode it was. It was 2 episodes ago. They posted and said, "I'm the worst podcast interviewer of all time," and I agree. And that's why I'm happy that I don't have a guest today, because I do suck.
Hey, hold on, Joe. Were those guests booked at gunpoint? He's like, "Oh, sweet relief. I don't have a guest today." Like, God, that would be if I did that. If I was like, "Boy, I really hate when Karl is on this show." Oh, hey, Karl. Yeah, no, we're talking about Fighter and the Kid, buddy. Welcome. You're booking the show, asshole. I'm really glad we don't have a guest today.
Interviewing. I used to be good at it. I don't know what happened. I took like 5 years off of interviewing people, and I got terrible at it. I don't know.
As opposed to the glory days. I do remember, like, when I was a kid, the debates, like when someone disgraced themselves in public.
Yeah.
They would always be like, is this a Diane Sawyer, Mike Wallace, or Joe Matarese? Who's handling this one? I think I'm pretty sure that's where Bernie Madoff landed when he was trying to clear his name. It was with Joe Matarese. Actually, Jerry Sandusky should have done an interview with Matarese. The only way he would have looked good.
Would have looked pretty good.
It's just like stand-up comedy. Like, the audience knows when you're sick of a joke, and the audience also knows when you don't have curiosity about the guest. So if you're a person that doesn't have curiosity, don't have guests. Don't interview them unless it's going to be someone you are really curious about. And let's face it, you see how many people are watching me live right now. I don't have enough fans that I can get somebody that I would give a shit about them. So I get these comedians.
Look,
with
what an asshole.
media
Do
following.
you believe he's talking about these people like this?
It's insane.
Like Jordan Jensen, which, by the way, do you know what he said to Jordan Jensen? Did you see that at all?
No.
So Jordan Jensen put out a special last summer. She was one of the Gas Digital half hours.
Yep.
And Joe goes on this like diatribe. He goes, I watched like 2 or 3 minutes of your half hour. I don't know. It wasn't really for me. I saw another clip of yours that was pretty funny, though.
Oh, this is the one when he opens it and he's like, oh, yeah, I've never met her. And she's like, no, we've met.
Yeah. And Jordan's like, but he goes on this like rant about her special, and Jordan's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And yeah, so he's talking about these people that, again, donated their time for no reason to Joe Matarese.
That can pack a comedy club who nobody's ever heard of, and I haven't heard of. That's what was happening.
Joe, it's because you're out of touch.
So,
I've heard of them.
How have you
People that would watch your show have heard of them. It was actually hard for me to make fun of Joe's show for a couple weeks because he had comics I liked on.
Yeah.
You asshole. You're bringing, Joe, that's how you bring a new audience. Maybe you can relate to these people just by talking. If you were a real podcaster, which you're not, I don't know why you keep trying to be. Here's the weird thing about Joe, is he keeps saying, like, you know, I'm not very good at interviewing. I'm not very good at podcast. I understand. He thinks that's like growth. Like he's admitting, you know, he's pleading with us. Like, guys, I know I'm not a good podcaster. Here's the problem. You keep doing it. So we're going to keep making fun of it. If you were like, guys, hand up, I suck at podcasting, so I'm not going to do it anymore. We'd be like, oh, good for Joe. He's got self-awareness. You keep putting a product out that you're now saying is shitty.
For him, though, that could be growth.
I don't think it is. Well, let's keep going.
You know, it's nice having them on when you need a guest, but I think a nice balance, maybe a guest, then not a guest, or you know what I'm saying. But it's got to be somebody that you give a shit about, and hard for me to give a shit about somebody that I never met in my life. And I Google them online. They're so new at stand-up. There's no content out there that blows me the fuck away. You know what I mean? That's what state we are at comedy right now. Talk shit about these comedians that are 10 years and under. They're selling out clubs because they got good TikToks. But if you watch them do stand-up...
Okay, hold on. Just so anyone's wondering if they missed the Matt Rife, Joe Matarese episode, you did not. He's had like working comics on.
Right.
Like Mike Racine's not TikTok famous.
He's just pissed that Mike Racine went on and doesn't know anything about him and dissected how much he hates the type of comic he is.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all like salty because these guys are more successful than he was at their age. Like it's sour grapes. It's kind of sad to watch. And this is where I've started to turn on Matarese because I've always said about him that he's Stuttering John, he's Opie, he's all these people. He's got a lot of their qualities. But I think he's a better person than them.
Yep.
That's what I've always maintained about Joe. And then when I heard this rant, I was like, maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe he's just an asshole.
This isn't great.
Yeah, the reason for a lot of these guys, their bitterness and everything, it eventually gets to them. And I think that's what you're seeing with Joe. And I assume working with Kevin is only going to worsen that. I guess he's doing Kevin's show once a week, he says.
Oh, that's not going to be good for him.
Oh, God. We're going to get an epic. There's going to be some great Joe Matarese episodes if he starts doing stuff with Kevin. It might take a while, but eventually.
It's not Chris Rock. It's not Dave Chappelle. It's not I mean, I can name a Bill
asshole. That wasn't every guest on fucking Letterman.
No shit.
Like Carson didn't exclusively ever. Carson made comedians. He made their careers. It was people you never heard of before. He called them over to the couch.
Joe Matarese.
Look at what fucking Kill Tony does. Tony has legitimate psychopaths on, lets them do a minute of comedy, and then gets to know them a little bit. Like, it's not that insane of an idea. but Joe's like, how can I be reduced to talking to Mike Racine and Jordan Jensen? And some of the other people he had on were like friends of his.
Right.
Chris, honestly, like Chris Scopo, I think is probably as successful as Joe Matarese.
He's on bigger platforms.
Yeah, so it's like, who the fuck are you, Joe, to be talking about people like this? Like, that actually annoyed me as just a fan of comedy and someone that likes some of the people he's had on.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you, Joe. You're a loser. You're the portrait of a loser. Like,
Right.
if you were to think of a loser comic, one of the first names that comes to mind is Joe Matarese. So for you to talk about people like that you should be embarrassed, as Sebastian would say.
Yeah. This is the guy that like basically Dan Nine and Sebastian.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Hey, can I open for you again, please, Sebastian? Pretty please. I'll say how Italian I am.
That's all I'm going to talk about.
How sad. And this Joe's spineless too. Where when he had Mike Racine on, Racine was like, "Oh, I hate guys that like pretend they're fucking like being Italian is their identity."
Yeah.
And Matarese goes, "Oh, I know. Isn't that terrible?"
He's like,
Joe, that's what you do.
He's like, you're dissecting me right now. This next clip we have is "Don't Box Me In."
Well, yeah, God forbid Joe do anything. God forbid Joe commit to something. That would be a great tragedy. How dare you try and get Joe to just do something and commit to it?
He wanted to just talk about Rocky every week. And anyone who's ever followed me,
talking about his old co-host.
You want to fuck me up? Make me stay in a locked space with a show idea. I need to do. It's one of my strengths and my problems. I
have a question, Joe. How has it? Just one example, if you wouldn't mind. I learned that technique from a great broadcaster. One example, if you would, of how it's been a success. Just give me one. If you can think of one instance where that has been successful. Now, yes, you're right. There are a litany of weaknesses it proves. There are a litany, I should say, of examples of weakness. But where has it ever been a strength that you can't commit to anything or stick to anything you've done in your career? How has it benefited you? Can you show me that?
I know he would refer to the porcelain shit as showing how successful it is because the views those have.
How is that success for him?
It's not.
It's great. It's great for porcelain. It's good for us. It's good for Karl and Red Bar and anyone that talks about this idiot. It's good for Cardiff Electric.
Yep. But he's probably like, I was a part of something that got millions of views.
Yeah, so was I. I wouldn't say that me losing its spike ball to Dave Portnoy was one of my great successes in life.
Well, I'm not saying it makes sense, but
if that's what he means, because
yeah.
also at least I worked for Barstool when I did that,
Right.
and people could be like, "Oh, I'll go follow Blind Mike or whatever." Joe got destroyed by a great documentarian that was making fun of him and got nothing out of it. And the little that Joe did get out of it, like people following him on Twitter and bothering him, like Joe hates that. He'll pretend he doesn't. He's like, I don't even acknowledge the troll. It doesn't bother me. That's another thing that he does, like Opie and Stuttering John. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
So, yeah, it does, Joe, because you keep mentioning it. But that's the one thing you got out of those porcelain documentaries. So is that the strength you're talking about, you fucking dumb dago? I don't know why Joe, this annoyed me, because I've always said, hey, at least Joe's a nice guy. He's trying, whatever,
Yeah.
And I think I was just wrong. I think he's just an asshole.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've told this before on here, but a friend of mine, a real good friend of mine, opened for him in Massachusetts somewhere. I forget where. And the tickets did not sell. So he texted my buddy and said, you need to sell this many or you're not going up.
Not going up?
Yeah.
Why is it that kid's fault?
Exactly.
What an embarrassment. What a true embarrassment. He should be embarrassed for his family. He's bringing his kid around to colleges. are you at all embarrassed, Joe, that you're like, mom's paying for all of this? Because you can't. What are you doing? You're getting drunk on the internet, hoping people throw change at you. That's not a business model, Joe. Stick to something, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, you almost did it. You got on the platform to almost do it. You just didn't do it.
You didn't stick to it all. So this is episode 20 or 21? 20, I think. Oh, you know what? Episode 21 was, he said, hey, I'll capitalize on Richard Lewis dying. He tweets out like a picture of Richard Lewis and is like, I love it. I swear to God, we'll be talking about hashtag Richard Lewis tonight.
Ugh.
He hashtagged a man's death to try and get views.
Ugh. Gross.
Oh, Joe. Anyways, what was I saying? Should we just get back to the clip? I don't remember what I was saying.
Back to the clip.
This guy's an asshole.
He sucks.
I'm not a stay on one exact style every week. That's why there's bourbon here, and it's probably the first time you're seeing it, right?
No, it's not.
No, I've seen actually.
But
yes, maybe in your hand. I've seen it on about 40 million different podcasts, though, Joe. It's not something interesting about you that you're
it's not
getting
the first
drunk.
time we've seen it in his hand either. He made a whole thing about pouring it.
Well, yeah, that's true. You want to watch me pour this?
Here we have him talking about money.
Okay, I'm sure the dollars will be rolling in now that he's figured out. Oh, that's what I was saying a minute ago. This was the 20th episode. This might have been the 18th or something.
Yeah.
5th different format. You know how much longer it takes for most podcasts to blow up? Now, Joe's never will, of course. Like, he's not going to suddenly at age 57 discover that he's a great podcaster. But, like, you have to stick with something for more than 2/3 of a year. Is that what that would be?
Right.
Like, Joe, fucking commit to something. It's terrible.
I miss Mike Albanese.
Yeah, we all do. Well, that was the other thing, is like, we got a studio. He abandoned that immediately. Now his poor wife has to hear this horse shit. This idiot's getting drunk.
His home studio, this looks significantly better.
This is another thing he said is, he goes, my New Year... Joe might have a problem based on this comment. I never knew him as like an alcohol guy or anything. But he goes, my New Year's resolution was to only drink on the weekends, which that feels like a guy with some issues. But he's like, my New Year's resolution was to only drink on the weekends. But it's only an hour. It's like, what are you getting defensive for, Joe? No one's accusing you of anything.
As it says, live stream every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. So he's drinking on Wednesdays now also. So only 3 nights a week.
We might have to post about this every Wednesday.
So it goes on Patreon every Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
And then it comes out the following Tuesday, I guess.
What a business model.
Wait a minute. Does he... I'm trying to think if he ever says he wants super chats. Does he not know how that works?
I mean, you can super chat through Patreon, but there's like...
Sure, I guess we're already fleecing those people.
Yeah,
You've
but there's
you've already scammed them into subscribing.
People watching us right now could super chat. Don't.
Don't. You don't need... You've given enough, guys. That's crazy if he's expecting super chats on the Patreon-only version. I just realized that.
Significantly less people watch when we go.
Of course.
I'm gonna try to keep up with all the questions as they're coming, and feel free to throw a super chat in there if you feel like.
I'm gonna keep up. Hold on. I'm gonna roll my shoe down the hallway and see if I can keep up with that.
Feel free to throw in a super chat.
There's a tortoise walking by. I'm gonna see if I can keep up with him.
Spooky Sammy, I appreciate you asking. I don't want to get audited, dude. I don't want to get audited. How much did you make? Well, that one wasn't an amazing one because the club was only 110 seats. So you could only make so much when you got 110 seats. But I made I'm not going to tell you.
He was about to say $1,500.
Let's say it's between I made between 1,500 and 2,000 for Saturday night with 100.
I'm not going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you essentially the exact number. Which, by the way, that means it's 1,500.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you.
And if
So,
he's telling the truth, good for him.
yeah, hey, good for him. I doubt he's telling the truth, because why wouldn't you just... If you're going to narrow it down to a $500 window, why wouldn't you just say it was $1,700?
Right.
So I think he's lying. Like, I think he's just lying. But this is where, like, it's so sad to watch these guys. Guys, we forgot to even promote. Go to blindmike.net if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, please.
Subscribe anywhere you get the podcast, and then become a Patreon or YouTube member if you like the show and want to support it. But you aren't obligated to do that, just so you know. Like, we genuinely, I appreciate everyone that does that. These old guys that are coming on the internet, Brennan, Matarese, Stuttering John, these people that are getting on the internet and bitching about people not giving them enough money is sad to watch. And Joe's not at that stage yet. He still feels like he has to kiss your ass a little bit.
Right.
And be like, hey, really pretty. But guaranteed, in a few months, he's going to be like, you know, Spooky Sammy, I saw you giving Kevin Brennan $20, and you only gave me $5. Okay, Joe.
It's a better show, Joe. The horrors of solo shows.
Oh, so this is bad. This is Joe when left to his own devices. You got to at least the fighter and the kid got questions that they could answer. You know,
And I'm gonna suggest we do not pause this so you can truly drink in how much this sucks.
I agree. No, I agree. Let's let it play out. This is what happens when Joe is just left to his own devices. Super chats aren't really flowing in. He was able to keep up with the chat, believe it or not. In fact, he stumbled ahead of them just a bit. So he had to kill some time here.
He was the hare and the chat was the tortoise.
Yeah. So we're, naturally, when the subject of Rocky comes up, you got to do this.
Rocky. What brings you out tonight, Rocky? Come on, Rocky. No, this is Juggies. The poster's wrong. What do you mean, Rocky? I mean, the poster is wrong. I'm wearing red trunks with a white stripe, and you got the poster's wrong. Does it really matter, Rocky? I'm sure you'll give him a great show, Rocky. That was for Rocky Juergens, the promoter. Rocky, the biggest asshole in the history of movies. Juergens, what a prick that guy was, right?
You got not seen Percy from the Green Mile? That's the biggest dickhead in the history of movies.
Craig actually had a take on what he was saying.
Yeah, idiot.
I more just couldn't. Like, I didn't ever want to speak again while that was playing.
No, I think we should end it.
And then for him to say Rocky over and over again, and then have the audacity to say to us, that was from the film Rocky, everybody.
He repeated it so many times because he thought he was nailing it.
We were able to deduce that, Joe. We were able to put it all together, believe it or not.
He thought he was nailing it.
That's like it's when someone does an impression and goes, "I'm Richard Nixon." I'm not a crook. You have to say the things to let people know what impression you're doing.
Now, this next part here, Mike, this is where the tables turn and he comes after us.
Okay, yeah, this one I do think, like I said earlier when he was talking about Karl.
Mm-hmm.
This I think might be a little more directed at us.
Yeah, because everyone hates that we start.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I'm sure the guys that troll me they'll have a good time with this podcast. Enjoy this one. Do your stop starting, dice it up, keep shitting on me. It's fine. I don't care. You know what I do now? I let it go. I do. Say it one more time. I let it go, dude.
Well, seems like a guy who's really letting it go, huh?
He seems to have let it go, Mike.
I gotta be honest. When he said I don't care, I didn't believe him. I'm just gonna put that on the table. I didn't believe him.
Wow.
Then when he said I don't care, I kind of started to believe him. But then I was, as we all were, I'm sure, I was still a little skeptical. But then he sang, "I don't care." And that's when I was like, this is a guy that doesn't give a fuck. He clearly is not bothered by any of this.
Didn't give a shit.
Now, if you didn't care, maybe you'd actually acknowledge it and laugh about it and try and understand what people were saying. Because for a while we were like, hey, Joe's a nice guy. It's just funny to watch him do some of this stuff. And now we hate you. Now I think you're a horse's ass because of the way you're talking about other comics and what you're putting your audience through. It's exhausting. It's mean. Frankly, it's mean to do this to people. The amount of iterations you've had on this stupid fucking show.
Right. This is the last clip we have, and it's him talking about Luis J. Gomez.
Oh yeah, this was maybe subconsciously. It's another reason I'm angry. He went after my guy, Luis J. Gomez. Luis has been pretty positive about Joe. Every time he talks about him, like he makes jokes, but then he's like, yeah, but Matarese is a good guy. He's a good comic, whatever. The audacity to slap back at Luis like this is a big mistake for old Joe, I think.
Definitely. I don't think they'll even respond to this.
Oh, no, he'll never address it. But my thing is more like, Luis would have you on shows and shit, Joe.
He would have him on the shows. He'd have him at Skankfest. He would do all that.
Probably, yeah. At the Skankfest, he takes it a little more seriously, so maybe we wouldn't want to hack like Matarese there. But like, really, he'd have him on like Real Ass Podcast or something, especially to talk about this.
Right,
know?
Right. He still might have him on Real Ass Podcast, probably not Legion of Skanks.
Yeah. I mean, Joe doesn't deserve that, obviously, but yeah, Real Ass Podcast maybe. So let's see what he says about the rattlesnake.
Who hates for no reason? People that had fucked up childhoods. That's what I've realized as a grown up. As soon as
hold on. You know what he's doing, Craig? We've seen this.
Gaslighting.
Well, that sure, but what he's doing is what he did to Anthony, Artie, and Jim Norton. Where he's like, you guys you're not married, so you don't understand my problems. He's like attacking Luis because Lewis's dad died and his mother was a prostitute.
Right.
And that's the reason Luis thinks Joe's a hack, I guess.
That's why Luis is super successful and living completely off his comedy career, not his soulmate.
Yeah, when Luis does podcasts, he doesn't have to beg people for advice. How should I change this?
Luis Gomez started fucking saying shit about me over and over again on his shows. I started listening and he would talk about his fucking childhood. I'm like, he had a fucked up childhood. Of course he's going to be a dick. You know what I mean? It's just part of it usually. I didn't. My parents are still married. They're still together over 50 years. I slept overnight at their house last night.
Was kicked out of mine.
Some dysfunction enough.
My wife was like, "No gigs again, Joe. Why are you inviting listeners to our home?"
I forgot about that.
That's the most unlikable Matarese is like, I'm better than you, Matarese.
That's been his whole being this whole time.
Well, no, I think there was some humility during some, like the end of the Red Bar stuff, like when he was on Porcelain Show and everything. I thought he showed signs of humility, but now he's reverted back to like, oh, Luis is criticizing me because I'm better than him. No, actually, he's a lot better than you, specifically at what you're trying to do.
Right.
Like he seems like a better dad than Joe too. Like there's not an aspect of Joe's life where Luis is worse than him. It's crazy.
The stand-up comedy, but not enough that I'm just going to throw digs out at people for no fucking reason.
Okay.
That's what you're doing, Joe. That's what you did about the guest you interview.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you what's way worse. Luis says, "Hey, Joe Matarese is a loser. Ha ha ha. I'm kidding. He's a nice guy. Blah blah blah." What you did, Joe, is take subtle digs at people like Jordan Jensen and Mike Racine, where you're like, they're fucking nobodies who only got successful for TikTok, and I can't muster up a question for them because they bore me. That's what you did. So not only do you take digs at people, yours are more mean-spirited. You're actually a much worse guy, Joe. I don't know why I'm so fired up and turning on him, but
Hacko Burrow in the chat says Joe doesn't even say the N-word. What a hack.
Well, listen. Not saying you should do everything like Lewis.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lewis, by the way, that's the end of Matarese, right?
That's the end of Matarese.
Yeah. So, Joe, well, I look forward to see what your podcast is next week.
Can't
I
wait.
look forward to see if you have costumes or what version of the Joe Matarese show we're in store for next week.
He's like, I could go on to your mom's house studios and have a show called Are You Trash?
Where I just I ask people questions like, did you drink milk with dinner?
Do you like potatoes or a strong linguine?
Poor Joe. Yeah, but no, next week he'll be doing like the Kyle Dunnigan face swaps, but it's just worse impressions of every character that Kyle Dunnigan does. Maybe that's what's next for Joe.
I hope so bad that
he tried that.
He takes one of these episodes and tries to pull clips of it.
Oh, that'd be great. The way John does with Karl. Well, this is what John does with Karl, where he'll play a clip of Karl or Shuley or whoever. He plays the clip and then he pauses it and goes, "Are you fucking with me? Really? Really? That's what they think is funny?" And it proves, like, oh, there's a skill to it, you know?
Yeah.
I guess I'm not saying it's a great skill. It's not like knowing how to build a house or something, but it's a skill, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the end of the Matarese stuff. But speaking of Luis J. Gomez, what happened in Seattle?
Oh, was he one of the comics?
Yeah. So it was Jim Florentine, Luis J. Gomez, Dave Smith, and Kurt Metzger all had gigs canceled.
That's a fucking that's some paydays right there the club's missing out on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, those are all good. I don't know what, like, I think Florentine does decent numbers.
Florentine stand-up's good.
I assume Kurt does decent numbers.
Yep.
Like, all those guys have an audience, you know?
Dude, Dave Smith is one of like the biggest people like in media right now.
Yeah, like say what you want about his stand-up, but like the part of the Problem Gang is going to go out to that club and support him.
He blew up within the last year, like by I don't know. I think he's got like over 500,000 followers on Twitter now. And
Yeah, Dave's actually. By the way, I also think Dave is like the most underrated part of Legion of Skanks.
Oh, by far.
His little one-liners on that show are very funny.
By far, I think he's my favorite part of that show.
They were talking. They were like kissing Shane's ass. Like Jay was kind of kissing Shane's ass a little bit, and Lewis goes, "Can we stop just like blowing Shane? Like, he's our friend. We know him. We don't have to talk to him like he's a celebrity." And Dave just goes, "Shane, I'm so sorry about my buddy here. What were you saying?" Like, just shit like that is very funny to me. But yeah, so they got banned from a comedy club in Seattle.
Yeah, not like rescheduled. They're you're not allowed here.
So the club booked them. Correct me any part I have this wrong, because Florentine just posted about this. It was very weird. Posted about it randomly, and Florentine didn't seem mad. He was just like puzzled by it.
I actually have the news clip, their local story on this.
Oh, all right, let's hear it.
And Florentine's in it.
The Capitol Hill Comedy Bar is Broadway's version of a chuckle hut.
What's your wedding song?
Hold on. Yeah, how does that guy still exist?
It's Chuckle Hut.
The Broadway Comedy Center. There's no way I really talk like this.
Dick jokes not allowed.
Did I teach you that? I went to I went a terrible school for communications, but I did take classes. I don't remember them telling me, like, you have to talk like this in order for people to understand you. You're going to want to emphasize each word like you're a clown.
Well, this actually goes back to I think it was the Tubin story from that Madawaska show that Hack Ride covered because it was timely.
Sure.
When the news,
it's always good to go back. If you could tonight review an episode of Trash Talk I did from 2017. I think we covered some good stuff on that.
Yeah. But like the guy was like, he was caught masturbating, like like the newscaster. It was some story we've done that was talking like that.
It must have been that, yeah.
The Capitol Hill Comedy Bar is Broadway's version of a chuckle hut.
What's your wedding song? Here I Go Again by Whitesnake?
And Jim Florentine was ready to oblige the customers.
How would you describe your form of comedy?
It's silly. I don't talk about politics at all.
Yet Florentine says his agent got an email.
The craziest thing is like Jim Florentine. I mean, maybe I know he curses on stage and stuff.
Yeah,
I think he like talks about his family.
I mean, he'll dive into like the sexual stuff, but like it's not like insanely graphic.
The only one on that, if you want to say Lewis, because like Lewis will use slurs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but even like Lewis's stand-up is not crazy over the line.
Right.
Like there, I mean, like I don't think there's stuff in Lewis's stand-up where you could even take the clip out of context and be like, "Can you believe he said this?" You know. So that it's all very weird, but Florentine might be the strangest one.
Yeah, for sure, easily. Like Metzger's the political guy.
Yeah, but even he's not like filthy or anything. I don't know. It's very weird. But let's get back to the chuckle hut in Seattle.
And 3 other jokesters had their dates canceled.
I can't. This is all just going to be about this newscaster.
I know.
There were 4 wiseacres on their way to Seattle.
The Weisenheimers, no more.
We were in Seattle. We were getting something a little dirtier than Fraser Crane for our comedy muscles.
DJ Electra in the chat says it was Tubin, so I was remembering right.
Good. Jim Florentine was masturbating. That's something they should cancel the gig for.
Florentine was caught masturbating on his cross-country flight.
Jokesters had their dates canceled with very little explanation.
What was the reasoning given to you for that?
There was a whole thing about, we're a progressive area.
How do you feel about something like this happening?
But they were a progressive area when they booked them.
Right.
This is what I said about like Shane getting fired from SNL. It's like, did you do one Google search on them?
Right.
Like if you're the type of place where Jim Florentine is too dirty for you, maybe like do a cursory research. Give it a quick Google. Say like, oh, he played a retard on a show called Crank Yankers. Maybe we shouldn't have him on. Just anything. Like he that was part of a show called Creeps with Kids. Maybe he doesn't fit our values.
It made me laugh at first.
Florentine told me that normally comics are fired after bombing on a stage, not before. I
love this guy.
It's funny because it's showing him, which is new. Usually it's just a voiceover.
Hi, I actually do exist. A lot of people, when they hear my voice, think I'm some terrible AI experiment, but I'm a human being.
Chris Daniels, Channel 4.
I love Chris Daniels.
Bombing on a stage, not before. The way the news came out prompted online outrage about cancel culture and free speech.
I would say be free speech if they were going to do their jokes right here. Is it free speech in there?
Seattleite Jacob DeRogers understood the business.
They cut him off halfway through.
Seattleite.
Hold on. They got just some guy. Here to comment on it, we have some guy out on the street.
They call him Seattleite, like Bostonian.
We've got a Seattleite here who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about to weigh in on the matter. He gets halfway through his sentence and they're like, moving on from this is Jake. And we don't really care what Jake says. We just wanted to puff up this segment.
Seattleite Jacob DeRogers understood the business decision, and Florentine says he's already booked the same weekend now.
Oh, I'm glad Jacob understands. Guys, everyone, hey, Lewis, Dave, calm down. Jacob is cool with it.
Well, I'm not mad. I wasn't even mad to begin with.
He only questions whether the odd cancellation will ultimately leave the business as the butt of some joke. In Seattle, Chris Daniels.
Wait, go back. What did you say?
Some stupid line.
Ken now in Tacoma.
Well, I'm not mad. I wasn't even mad to begin with.
He only questions whether the odd cancellation will ultimately leave the business as the butt of some joke. In Seattle.
Leave the business. This guy's working so hard to bring comedy phrases into this.
I know.
Well,
Like
that was a tag the comedians weren't expecting.
Tom Myers was covered the same way on his birthday.
My belly hurts.
Stop, my belly
Please
hurts.
stop, my belly hurts. Yeah, so that's very weird. I don't understand that one. But I get like they all ended up getting gigs to replace that, so it's like who gives a fuck? But it was very weird because it came out of nowhere. It was based on nothing. Well, I think what it means is that comedy club will be closed in 6 months.
Yeah, easily.
You know what I mean? Like they're just not. Who's gonna go there now?
It's gonna be whatever comics were going there that are friends with them are gonna cancel and then go to that new place.
Well, it could, because I think even if clean comics saw that, they'd be like, oh, like, you know, Jim Gaffigan, or obviously Gaffigan's not playing at that club, but that type of comedian would look at that and say like, oh, well, obviously I could get in trouble for something there, so I'll just go somewhere else.
Right.
You know, because these guys were canceled based on nothing. What if I have some joke that doesn't fit their values? Like, what a terrible business model. Yeah, so that was a weird one. I don't know.
Yep.
Let's see. What are we working with here? How long have we been broadcasting? 2.5 hours. So is there anything else we want to get to? Yeah, it pretty much covers it.
I think we covered it. We got the Cat Williams thing, I guess, or
Oh yeah, let me play that. Yeah, let me play it real quick because I wanted to talk about this a little bit. So, Cat Williams was on with Joe Rogan, and I saw it. So it was posted yesterday. It was Rogan very smartly. His first episode back on YouTube was Cat Williams.
Huge.
It's already got millions of views.
Yeah.
But it was a very different Cat that we got on this one.
I know. Well, he wasn't feeding off Shannon.
Yeah, it would the energy. He was coming out guns blazing. He was taking down everyone in his path in comedy with Shannon Sharp because Shannon was gassing him up a little bit. With Joe, smoke a little weed, maybe. You know?
Smoke a little weed, and his people were probably like, "Hey, you're pissing off like a lot of people that."
Cat's never listened to that before, though.
That's true.
I mean, it was a massive hit for him. Like that, I don't think that hurt his ticket sales. You know,
Definitely not. Definitely not.
like, and other than Steve Harvey, which even that is like, I don't. Oh, Kevin Hart, I guess. I was
Kevin
gonna say
Hart,
he didn't.
but like not really. I guess.
I was gonna say he didn't piss off anybody that could like affect him in the business, but I guess Kevin Hart.
Yeah. Yeah. One tweet. Goodbye.
But yeah, like Rogan had him on. I because he kind of shit on Rogan a little bit, and Rogan was like, "Come on the podcast. Why are you saying I won't have you on?"
Right.
So he did, and I just wanted to give this is the energy that Ken had the whole time. But I gotta say, like, I enjoyed this podcast. I went in for clips to play on the show,
Mhm.
and I couldn't find any because I just got sucked into a trance where like they're talking about the pyramids and Cat Williams knows Atlantis existed.
You know how pumped I am that Rogan's back on YouTube, because for the purposes of this show, it sucks cutting clips through Spotify.
Oh, it's a lot easier now. That's the main nice thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I said, like, you know, I read 3,000 books, people were like, yeah, right. But
I just like that Rogan's laughing like, yeah, you're ridiculous. You didn't do that.
It seems like they're about to be like, yeah, no, I was fucking around. I was lying. But listen to the rest of this.
you know, everything in life is about the environment it was grown in, the petri dish, right? So if I told you that from the time I was 8 to the time I was 12, I never celebrated any birthdays. I never went to a birthday party. I never had a Thanksgiving, a Christmas. I never trick-or-treated. I wasn't allowed to watch movies.
I wonder why that window specifically?
It's probably something to do with like, I don't even want to get into it. I don't know. I couldn't come up with a guess.
8 to 12, because I know like if you were raised like Jehovah's Witness or something, you don't celebrate birthdays or holidays or any of that shit.
Mhm.
Why specifically 8 to 12? That's very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to do a why are you laughing about Cat Williams, so we'll find out. I'll find out the exact reason eventually, I'm sure.
All I could do was read. If I told you that, then you would understand that for 8 hours a day, I got 8 hours and I can read, and I love to read. And so I'm reading books that are 250, 200 pages, and it takes me about an hour to read one. So yeah,
Takes you an hour to read
I'm reading
150
8
pages?
a day. Yeah, like all I'm doing is reading because that's what. So I'm checking out 20 books. The limit at the library is 20 books at one time. So I'm going Monday, Wednesday, and Friday just because this is my thing. Like,
so you're getting 60 books a week?
Minimum, because
really,
yeah, because I'm reading more than that.
Can I say that sounds impossible? But remember when he said he ran like a 4.340 or something?
Yeah.
He did pretty close. So like video came out.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty close. I think he said he might have said he ran like a 4.1 and he actually ran a 4.3, or said it was a 4.3 and it was actually a 4.5 or something like that.
And he's it's
like
close
he's
enough.
very fast. This is what's weird about a guy like Katt Williams is like, clearly he's lying, but also is he? You know, is he the most interesting guy who's ever lived?
He might be.
He might be.
I still have religious books that I have to read. So understand this is pre-internet first.
Right.
So.
Oh, that was it. Did I lose you?
Oh, sorry. I said he also like said some of the books were 100 pages, so it's not impossible.
It's just funny. Like, it was funny to me that he's like, y'all are crazy. How do you not believe these things, these ridiculous things that I'm saying? He like doubles down on them. I like that.
Right.
But that was the tone. Like I said, I went into the interview being like, oh, we'll be able to find a bunch of clips to mock. And then I was like, I was in a trance listening to them talk about how civilizations existed on Earth before us, and we're going to get wiped out again, and people are going to have to rebuild humanity. And I'm like, interesting. So I think, like, what were you going to say?
It's like, do you mean that for real? And he's like, yeah, baby.
Well, so if you don't like usual Rogan, you probably won't have much interest in this episode. But like, if you like when Rogan gets deep and weird like that, I think you'll love this. I think this was a great episode for that.
Yeah.
Like, Katt is very interesting because Rogan throws shit at him where you're like, why would Katt Williams have a perspective on this? Who built the pyramids or whatever? Why would Katt Williams have an answer on that? And then he has like the most philosophical answer you've ever heard. It was almost like he was like Rogan sent him the questions ahead of time.
Almost like he read so much about it.
Maybe he read 60 books about it.
He might have.
Yeah. So I don't know. Go listen to that. It was interesting, but I didn't get the juicy gossip. The one thing he did say is Rogan asked him about the wearing a dress thing in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And Katt Williams goes, name a man who wore a dress that wasn't successful. I don't really know how to counter that, I guess. I don't really know what you mean by that, even.
Has Rogan ever worn a dress? That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, Rogan's like that. Maybe on news radio.
He could have.
That seems like a classic sitcom plot, you know? Him and Andy Dick and
Bryan Callen walks in and he's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, Rogan and Andy Dick pose as women for an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Go check out Katt Williams, I guess. All right. Anything else before we hit the bricks here?
That's it,
guys. We appreciate you being here. We should be back to live next week. I apologize for the inconveniences. Life got in the way, as they say, you know? But don't worry. Next week, if you didn't like this week, next week we'll come back with a whole new format. I'm going to be drinking bourbon, and I'll be alone riffing for an hour. So we'll try the Matarese format, maybe.
Yeah.
Go to blindmike.net if you wouldn't mind supporting the program. I'm sure you've done that already, but if you haven't, what the hell? What are you doing? Subscribe wherever you get podcasts, for goodness sake. Help the show. Get more eyeballs on this thing. Like us on YouTube, comment. All that stuff helps the algorithm. I always like when I see people saying, I'm just commenting to help the algorithm.
Yes.
I enjoy those comments. It means you
fun.
support the program.
That's right.
So do that. And then if you really like the show, if you want early content like this week, you could have had on Friday, this episode on Friday. If you want early content and bonus content, become a Patreon or YouTube member. That helps support the show as well. So we appreciate you guys. Go to verygoodshow.org. That's where Kreger's and all of his stuff is. Any new rubbed outs lately?
Rubbed Out will be dropping to the public this Wednesday. Right? Yeah, Wednesday. It'll be
Alright.
out. It's on Patreon now for anyone listening live.
What's it about?
It's about John Price, a guy in Australia whose wife got pissed at him and decided to turn him into beef stew. So very fun.
Nice.
It was actually a fun episode, which I haven't said yet about that program. So,
It sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah, Australia. We went off the rails a little. It was fun.
Go check that out. And check out our boy Hackred, of course. We make jokes about the man, but check out the demon. He's a big part of the program.
That's right.
And does a lot for the show. So support that gentleman, as well as Electra, DJ Electra Fry. And I assume they're doing a show tonight, Sunday night, for Gearbox, where they'll be either over the top complimenting me and saying that I'm the next Howard Stern, or talking about what a fat piece of shit I am that doesn't know how to broadcast. God forbid we just talk about the show, It can't be that.
And will they have a guest? Who knows?
Oh, who's going to be on?
I have no idea. That seems to be the format.
Yeah. Well, the fall from Karl to Christian Blatt was so precipitous that I can only imagine. Craig's landscaper will be on this week or something.
Yeah, that guy.
No, Christian Blatt's a good man. We like Christian. Thank you for doing it, by the way, Christian. All right, enough of this nonsense. May we be excused?
And we have a meme transition.
Sappers clear the way. Everyone all the way.
Now, this is very interesting. Now,